Okay, so we're now recording. So once again, welcome to the first Southall Matters Forum of 2023. So there's lots to discuss, particularly in relation to subjects such as the draft local plan and transport and the air quality strategy and the air quality action plan. And also a little bit of input from me on Clean Air for Southall and Hayes. So who wants to start?
I'll start. It's just some things about transport that I want to raise up. So I just heard that tomorrow, Thursday and Friday is going to be another set of strikes over the same thing that everybody's fighting for, that everybody's striking for. The said company, Abellio, have had a set of pay talks with the management and the union of about £18.50 an hour, which was unfortunately rejected by 737 drivers across the 6 depots. So they balloted for strike action, which really is really unnecessary at this time where we all, need services to get to work, especially me. So I rely on the 482 quite a lot, and it's quite difficult for me because I have to get up earlier, leave earlier, because the H32s are not timed right for me to get to West Thames College. So it's just it's just really frustrating having to get up earlier, leave earlier when I expect that drivers should be behind the wheel driving instead of striking, because there's nothing else the company can do now in terms of offering the drivers anymore. So what they're doing is they're offering, that was their final offer, and they said they cannot go up. Which I also blame the union, because they said that the drivers should continue to strike, but now they're saying, oh, we're working together with the company to stop striking. To me, it's just like, what is the union's role in this? Do they want them to continue striking, like affecting everybody's commute into work from work, or not? Because if the trains are not running, we need to rely on the bus services, and some people only have bus services running along their street run by the said company, and they have to walk for half an hour, 45 minutes to the nearest bus stop. It's just
Which union is it, Arjan?
It's Unite the Union. So they're I feel like they're partly to blame for these mishaps in this strike action, because first they were saying, reject the offer. Now they're saying, we're working with the company to get the drivers, or the 737 drivers that rejected it, to kind of accept the offer, because there's nothing they can do to there's no other offer they can make now. So it's really bad.
Arjun, I can see your point of view, but I can also have complete sympathy for people who work in the public sector and work providing public services. So I've got quite a rounded view, so I know what it's like to be disrupted getting to work. I mean, as you know, I work at West Thames College. I drive, but I know on strike days that my colleagues have been seriously impacted. I think the E8 is one of the bus routes that has been affected.
Oh, well, it's one of the routes that is affected because it's taking all the passengers, it's all taking all the people onto Ealing for a connection for just the 607 that runs along Hanwell Broadway, Ealing Broadway, past Ealing Common Station, Acton. That's the only through service, because most of these services are run by Abellio, and then there's absolutely no service on that route sometimes, especially the 207. The 207 is quite busy. It's one of the busiest routes that the company runs. And when it's not run, everybody wants to get on the 607, and then the 607, it's always full. So it's just like, it's just like it's impossible to travel during strike days because of that.
Yeah, I definitely sympathise with you when you've got to get to college or work by a certain time, and it just increases your stress. But at the same time, you know, I understand, you know, workers, you know, striving for better pay, particularly in the current economic climate. I heard on the news tonight that interest rates are set to go up again.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, oh my gosh, another letter from my mortgage company.
Yeah.
And other people are in the same boat, you know, really stressing about how to make mortgage repayments and, you know, other repayments, other payments, you know, gas, food bills. So, you know, I understand it because of the rate of inflation. People are really, really finding life difficult.
Fair enough.
But equally, you know, I understand that strike action is having a profound effect on people like yourself, who need to get to work, need to get to college. But, you know, I think effectively, this is a little bit like the winter of discontent.
Yeah, it's quite hard to see who to support in a way, because it's like, you feel bad for them, then yet again you're kind of fed up. And I understand we're in a cost of living crisis, but you know, I did the calculation, and per day, if you do 1850 times 7 times by like 6 for a 6-day working week, they're taking over £800 a week home. So yeah, I kind of get it if they kind of need that £20 an hour, which gives them only, let's say, £840 a week. That's, I mean, with the said, even with £20, which they're striving.
I've got one. Yeah, I'm going to type it.
Or you can record it on your phone.
Tarek, can you go on mute for a little while, and then I'll bring you into the conversation. Sorry. Yeah, carry on, Arjan.
No, so as I was saying, I've lost where I was going. So yeah, they're taking £840 a week. Even £20 an hour, which they're asking for, isn't going to be much. Because for the it's a 7-hour duty times by 10-20, it's 140, between 140 and £1,200 a day they're taking home. So but I think, you know, it's just difficult when the cost of living is going up. And, you know, when we look at, you know, the cost of properties, somebody advertised a 1-bedroom flat. Yeah.
Well, actually, sorry, it wasn't even a 1-bedroom flat. It was a room, £1,200 a month. And I just thought that is just astronomical.
No,
you know,
awful.
How are people supposed to find accommodation and have, you know, a reasonable amount of money left over? Yeah. It's taking more and more of their disposable income.
Yeah.
But anyway, can I just put this on hold for a minute, because we'll come back to transport. Yeah. And I want to link it to, you will know about this, the bus fares going up. Is it from 165 to 175? It's
175. It's a rise of about 6-point-something%, I think it was.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we'll talk about the bus routes and how to get to Warren Farm. But the reason why I'm going to pick it, because we have Tarek, who's a new member of our community, and he is disabled. I hope you don't mind me saying that, Tarek, and requires the services of a carer who has to come at a certain time to assist Tarek to get ready for bed. So Tarek, over to you.
I don't know if you can hear me because I have so bad internet connection here. But
yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me at all?
Yeah.
So I just recently moved to Southall. I think it was 2 weeks ago or something. And I'm looking for stuff to do around here. I can't hear. So does anyone know?
Sorry, I got a bit distracted, Tarek. Yeah, I know you've just moved to Southall. So how are you finding life in Southall? Because you live in, would you call it supported accommodation?
Yeah, they call it supported. Well, I'm still getting used to the way it works here. I think it's called supported living. Yeah.
Yeah, so I know one of the issues for you is actually finding activities that are inclusive for you in Southall. And
Yeah,
have you come up with anything so far?
Yeah, I tried going to the what do you call that, community college, and
Southall Community College.
yeah, it turns out they didn't do much. So at the moment, I'm looking for something else to do around here.
Yeah,
at the moment,
so that must be
I'm
quite frustrating for you that there isn't anything really fulfilling for you to do during the day.
Yeah. So luckily, I live right next to the college where I work, so that's all right. But I'm hoping to find somewhere closer.
Which college is that then?
Cranford Community College.
Oh, okay. So how do you get to Cranford? Do you go on the bus?
Yeah, I go on the bus, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes
so
I get
which bus do you get from? Do you have to travel down to South Road and get a bus from there?
No, there's one bus. I have to ask because the carers know. I have to ask them. Let me just check because
it's the one. Is it the 105 goes to
105.
Cranford Community College?
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. And how are you finding? Have you actually been on the 105 yet?
But what I've noticed about Southall, I remember when I last came to your meeting, you mentioned about there was a lot of rubbish here on the roads. When I was driving the other day, my wheel got stuck on the floor with someone's rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who can't see, but I know, Tarek is a wheelchair user, so obviously fly tipping on the pavements is going to be a serious hazard and an obstacle, and that's certainly something that I was aware of when I came to visit you. How much rubbish there is on Beaconshill Road.
Even
and how broken the pavements are.
Fly tipping everywhere is just getting really, really bad. I mean, I saw somebody's driveway littered with littered. I was even on the bus around the green, and I saw somebody's house. The streets were all littered. Everywhere is just full of litter. Even St. John's Church at the back is full of litter. Southall is just full of litter. It's not a clean place like any of the other boroughs I've been into. It's just it's just like a dump. It's like this whole entire borough is just like a dumping ground.
Yeah.
But
Arjun, for somebody like you and I, we are, if you don't mind me saying, able-bodied, so we can cross the road, or dodge round.
Yeah, but I feel really feel for Tarek.
But Tarek is in a wheelchair, and if there isn't a dropped curb nearby, how is he supposed to get around? Bin bags and whatever else is on the pavement.
Yeah, I agree.
And he,
that it smells
is entitled like everybody else to go out and about and access facilities locally.
I've noticed that it really smells of rubbish as well.
Yeah, what kind of smell? Is it food smells?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, people dump food in bin liners, and my assumption is that these are residents who live in outhouses illegally, and they've not been provided with bins. So they dump carrier bags, black bags. I mean, I don't get too close to inspect, but I've seen nappies and beer bottles and banana skins. And certainly there are.
I haven't gone that far yet. But
yeah,
I've only just moved, so I don't know that.
It's grim. Yeah, but Tarek, what facilities? Because you pointed out at the moment you've not been able to find anything to do. Southall Community College hasn't provided anything that meets your needs. You're having to go to Cranford Community College, which is not in the borough, it's in Hounslow Borough. What would you like to see in Southall?
More activities for disabled people, like activities for disabled people.
Okay. Any specific activities?
I would say social clubs and stuff, you know, because it's good to socialize with people.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. We lack community centres in Southall where people can meet and integrate with people from different backgrounds, different cultures, religions, etc. And I can see how people feel very isolated. When I was helping with the independence in Ealing campaign before the last local election, one woman said, you know, there are no community centres. It's bad for our mental health. So we tend to just be isolated and reliant on basically religious places to provide a community space. But I've always said there should be a secular space where people can come together of, you know, who are religious or, you know, who have no religious persuasion. And it's just really unfortunate. I speak to my children and they say, there is nothing for us to do. And Tarek, you may not be aware, but next to the college, actually it was part of the college, there used to be a sports centre and it was a fantastic resource. Yeah,
I think it's still there, you know, because I saw a sign saying sports centre.
Oh yeah, but it's shut down. So at some point, I guess they'll remove that sign. But there used to be 2 gyms. One was a women's only gym, large sports hall downstairs, a community room for health education classes.
At the moment, I'm looking
corners.
for a gym. So I'm looking for, because I haven't been to the gym in ages, so I'm looking for a gym.
I mean, the only gym that I know of is called, I think it's called The Gym. Arjun might know, on Southall Green.
Yeah,
it's under the TRS apartments. I've only been in there once. It's quite a small gym.
it's quite small, so I think for a person like Tarek, I don't think it would be quite ideal.
No, there's only a big
Not like-
one at Hounslow. The big one at Hounslow.
The thing is, this is what is happening. We're traveling out to different boroughs just to go to like a gym, to go to like to do something in our free time, because there's nothing here in Southall. Because this is what you know is really difficult to kind of think about. You know, it's like
yeah,
it's just like I can't speak because it's so bad here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of embarrassing, isn't it? You know, to talk about how there are so many deficits in Southall to a newcomer, you know, who wants to be part of this community, who wants to be active and doesn't just want to remain at home on a computer. It's absolutely appalling.
Because, you know, I just started going out on walks around, you know, just the streets, and, you know, I don't feel like going anymore because there's nothing I can really do. All I do is just go for a walk around the street, not even going in a park, because the park is just like a street in a way. It's just like my street. So what's the point of me going to the park? What's the point of me actually going on a walk? So it's just not like, you know, I don't feel like going out.
I don't know how far it is from Tarek, but Dormers Wells has got a gym as well as the swimming pool.
Well, I live in Beaconsfield Road, so that area.
Yeah. So the 105 bus, I think, off the top of my head. I mean,
105
knows more about the bus routes.
105 goes straight there, 105 goes straight back. But the thing is, it's just accessing it. It's just access. I think is a bit of an issue.
I've noticed that the roads are really busy as well. Like when I wanted to go to an event, on time. I couldn't make it because the road's so busy.
Yeah, my daughter goes to a karate class at Dormers Wells Leisure Centre on a Saturday morning. So I drop her there. It's a 2-hour class and she catches the 105 bus back. And it seems to be quite reasonable at the moment, and it's not taking her too long. So the class finishes at 11 and she's back home somewhere between 11:30 and 11:45. But I have to confess, I'm not really sort of fully acquainted with the facilities. I went in there to find out about swimming, and they didn't have any public swimming for children on a Saturday morning. I think the first availability was quite late, around tea time on a Saturday afternoon, which didn't suit my needs. And I have to say, seeing the building, I felt like I'd stepped back into the 1970s when I was at school. You know, it needs replacing. Now, I think, Arjan, you've made a very good point. We spend a lot of our time actually going out of borough for our leisure facilities. And I don't know if you've ever been to Botwell Green Leisure Centre in Hayes. I mean, that's a fantastic facility. And they used to have an old leisure centre there.
But then they knocked that down. They knocked that down, and we got that rebuilt in the same place. So
that's right.
You know, I don't know why we can't do it here. You know.
Yeah.
I was hoping to do. I'm actually in the process of trying to find the right place to do an event for disabled people at the moment, but it's been difficult in Southall.
Yeah, it's a big issue to try and find a place to hire. I agree with you, Tarek.
There is 2 places that I can think of off the top of my head. You've got the Monsoon Banqueting Hall, which people kind of use for what I've noticed is people kind of use that for conferences because it's like a big hall. And then we also got the Dominion Centre, which is kind of like a big centre just for conferences. I've
tried to book the Dominion Centre on more than one occasion.
Yeah.
And it just hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And
I think it's in the
manager who I've spoken to, they prioritise groups who already have bookings there. Manor House, don't know what's happening with Manor House, because there was a grand opening, wasn't there, back in the summer, and there was talk about it being space available for the community and for small businesses to hire. And I got in contact with the organisation that was managing this, and they said, we don't manage it anymore. So I spoke to my neighbour and I thought, who am I supposed to contact to find out about, trying to hire some space? So he's given me a contact name at the council.
Yeah, so isn't the Manor House owned and the Dominion Centre owned by council?
Yes, but they handed it over to, I can't remember the name of the organisation, to manage the Manor House. Don't know what's happened. So they no longer manage it, a few months down the line. So I'm going to email the council to find out, whether it's feasible for the community to hire space there. I mean, obviously it's been used by the council for their local plan meeting earlier on this month. Let's Go South have used it for meetings about the travel consultation. I guess it's just shut down, it's closed, and obviously that costs money, doesn't it, to keep a venue shut. That's one of my things to do.
If Manor House is also located on the green, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, but right behind the bus stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be ideal location, Tarek, because it's right by a bus stop.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get to.
Yeah.
Angela, can I come in for a bit?
Yeah, please do.
Did you just say that the Manor House isn't being managed by that company anymore?
No. And I'm really sorry, I can't remember the name. I contacted them and they said no, nothing to do with us.
A few others in the borough as well. Oh, well, I'm really surprised to hear that. That's something which I wasn't aware of. Any reason?
Well, I didn't ask and they didn't give a reason.
Mm.
But my neighbour's given me a contact at the council. But we struggle to find
Well, I
space.
mean-
Tarek wants to offer
Well,
something to
well, it's a
disabled
basic thing.
people.
Exactly. We don't.
I need space for cash. Brunel University want to put on the exhibition, Bridging Lives. So I'll make that inquiry. But yeah, we lack facilities, and that's a big, big issue. And Tarek, I was going to say to you, in the Dominion Centre, there is a library, but it is a really small library. And I remember, I think it was last year, I actually saw parents during one of the holiday periods sitting on the floor because there was insufficient seating actually within the library. I know they've got study space right at the front,
I haven't actually.
but that study space isn't actually near any books.
I haven't actually discovered the area that much yet. I only.
Yeah. But I think you're within your rights to say, I need access to facilities. I need amenities where I can meet people and not be isolated.
Yeah.
And be fulfilled. I mean, tell me about, let's just look at Cranford Community College. What did they provide you there?
So in Cranford Community College,
Don't touch me.
they do have good access because it's a huge college. But now I live in Southall. It's quite hard to to go there.
I can relate because I was a student there. So
Oh, were you?
yeah. So they have quite easy access to all parts of the college apart from the upper gym area.
The upper gym area.
Because how Cranford has got like two buildings, one for like where it's all like the classrooms and stuff.
Yeah.
In the reception area, that's one lift. They used to have one lift per building, but sometimes they wouldn't work. So basically, you wouldn't have access to one building on each.
Yeah.
So it was basically, it's like accessing Cranford, like the buildings was quite difficult because you have to go through another way to get up to classes and stuff if the main lift wasn't working and all that. But apart from that, it is apart from the fact that they might not work, they are quite fairly accessible. So both buildings are quite fairly accessible, and we have huts there. They used to have like huts where we do some lessons, and those are fairly accessible with like ramps for the wheelchair users and stuff like that. So,
and I go to this other organization as well, but sadly it's in Hounslow again. So it's in Hounslow. At the moment, it's a struggle to find stuff to do in Southall. There's not many groups. I was searching around to see if there's anything.
Yeah, Tarek, how I met Tarek. Tarek did a podcast. I know you're taking a break from that.
Yeah.
And do you want to tell people about your podcast?
Tarek.
So this was a long time ago. I decided to take a break because I couldn't even spend time with family and stuff. It took a lot of my time. So what it was, I was volunteering for an organization called Heston West, which is run by the council. So they run with any age that they do cooking clubs, they do film clubs, and then they decided that they wanted to set up a podcast. So I and your interview is still up there, Angela.
Oh, thank you.
So I actually met Angela that way. But what I didn't know is that she lived right next to me until a few weeks later. So yeah, I met Angela that way. So about cash, I interviewed Angela about her group.
Yeah, that's the podcast.
Yeah.
Is the podcast is one way that I actually found out about cash as well.
Actually, I still have the link. I'll put it in.
Yeah, I mean, the cash was that was one way I found out about cash, and I know the person, personally myself, Taz Verdi. He's the
Oh, you know him. He's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
green.
Yeah, so he's the one that manages Heston West Big Local, and he invited me to a few of his events, but because just to see if I wanted to join. I was going to join, but at the time because it was like my GCSE period at the time, when I first met him, I thought no, I better not join because of GCSE. So, but yeah, he is a nice guy, very friendly. He'll welcome you in. He'll try and get you involved as much as he can, and stuff like that. So
Heston West is actually running out of funding now, so I don't know what they're planning to do. They've actually set up a new charity to keep it going, but they've actually
normally Seema Malhotra, the MP, she is quite supportive.
Yeah.
So I don't know why she's not, doing anything about, about just getting Heston West Big Local more of the funding they need.
Yeah, they seem to have done, some amazing works in the community. And I don't know if it's the same organisation, but there's an organisation that offers free meals at Cranford Community College and activities for children. And I'm not saying, we don't do things like that. Obviously, we've got Southall Community Alliance, and I noticed online that they provided meals to disadvantaged families through, I think it's Dormers Wells High School.
I also think isn't Dormers Wells sponsoring that or something? Or am I thinking wrong?
Not sure of the detail, but there is a definite need. And there was a report in Let's Go Southall. Sorry, what's that online newspaper called? I've forgotten the name of it.
I'm trying to remember the name myself.
Sorry, my brain's gone to sleep.
Sorry, Angela,
but where I live and where you live as well, Southall Green West is the most deprived part of Ealing Borough. I think we can see that for ourselves.
I noticed that as well.
Yeah,
I noticed that. Yeah.
Sorry, Angela, I can't really stay long, but really, I just want to find out if you guys know anything around Southall, or if you can keep me updated, because I have to go now because of the carers. But
I really appreciate you coming, Tarek, and explaining what it's like for you as a newcomer and as a wheelchair user, how inaccessible, getting around Southall due to the fly tipping on the pavements, and also not finding anything at the moment to meet your leisure and social and work needs. And that's quite disheartening to hear. But unfortunately, you missed the beginning. This recording is put in the public domain. It's shared on YouTube. So it's possible that other members of our community may well see it and reach out to you via cash. So certainly, if anything comes up, I will let you know.
Thank you.
But I think you've raised an important point. You've got the get up and go to want to do something for other disabled people. But there are barriers in the way that obviously funding is going to be one, and finding a suitable venue.
Yeah, that's the only problem.
Yeah. But it could be, there's Southall Community Alliance. And, I'm a firm believer if something doesn't exist, let's see if there's a way to create it. Yeah. And they receive funding. So, it could be that they need to incorporate people of your age range more extensively.
I don't know if you've heard of this, Angela. I've got an email the other day about GoFundMe, a new funding organisation called GoFundMe London.
Okay, I've not heard of that.
they fund. I haven't read the email, but apparently they are trying to run more sports. The funding allows you to run more sports events. I just received that email yesterday. I haven't had a chance.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe if you send me the link, I can have a look at it and see,
Yeah.
what's available, if anything, for Southall. But yeah, I hope you'll
But
come
thanks for
back to other meetings, and this won't be your second time, and you won't return. So I think it's your way to have a voice and to be heard. And certainly I would like to think that everybody's in the room tonight has heard you very clearly about your needs and the obstacles that are in your way.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No problem. Nice to see you. And thank you, Steve, for sharing the link about Dormers Wells Leisure Centre. So perhaps that's something you want to investigate with the manager where you live, Tarek.
Yeah, I've saved that. I'll have a chat with you tomorrow.
Yeah, and seeing if there's activities there that you want to participate in. So thank you, Steve, for that.
Thanks.
All right, take care. Oh, obviously you're welcome to stay until you're ready to go.
Yeah, I'm just gonna save the link.
Okay, Arjun, shall we go back to what we parked transport?
Yeah, sorry, I'm eating my dinner as well at the same time.
All right, and we talked about, obviously there is a lot on social media about Warren Farm.
Did you say about transport quickly? Can I explain a story about the experience I had about transport?
Yeah, please go ahead.
So I was on the bus recently, actually 2 days ago, and so the driver was going to put a ramp, and then he just closed the door, ignored. So I had to fight with the driver to put the ramp down. So
that's disgraceful.
Yeah.
And there was space for your wheelchair on that particular bus?
Yeah, there was space, but the driver wouldn't put it down.
Yeah.
Is that the 105?
Yeah, that was 105, one of them. Because I was coming back.
Because I know all the drivers personally, and I've never ever seen them, act that way.
Because I was going, it was late in the evening, because I was coming back from college. It was late in the evening.
Yeah.
And the driver didn't put down the ramp.
Yeah.
So what happened, Tarek? Did he just drive off then?
No, luckily the ramp was stuck, it wouldn't go back up. So he couldn't move. So at the end, someone came and pushed it, and he decided to let me in.
You know what it is? It's really bad because they do this thing called the first use check, and every time they take over the bus, they should do the first use check, whether it's at a bus stop, in the bus garage in the morning, because what they do, they only check the bus over once a day. So when the bus first goes out in the morning, or whether the bus, the bus runs through the night and then stays out during the day as well. They don't do the first use check because they expect the ramp and everything's working. So they, what I will recommend, I will put this suggestion into TFLs for the drivers to, take a bit of time out to, do this first use check, because I think it's really important for when situations like what happened to Tarek happens. And they might have to take the bus out of service, and have 2 or 3 extra buses ready in the garage, ready to be sent out, just in case something like that does happen.
I'm gonna say one last thing before. You know what I think that the buses should have? I think they should have like a little badge for disabled to say when you're on a bus, like a little bracelet, or something on the bus that says please put the ramp down. I don't think they will.
I agree. Yeah, I think that will personally, make a big difference. I think, the bus services will run on time, but then you need to make sure the bus is actually working properly, just in case situations like this do happen. So,
it's not unacceptable. And I work at West Thames College, as you know, and I support a class. There are 2 wheelchair users,
Oh, there's a
And,
list.
I was-
I was going to bring that up. I was going to bring that
okay.
up about the West Thames College as well.
Okay, but
Yeah.
we were returning from home base at Gillette Corner, and I can't remember the bus number.
H91 to Gillette Corner, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, the bus pulled up, and the ramp came out, and then it retracted. Driver did it again, and it was quite obvious that he had pulled up too far from the pavement. So I had to gesture to him, you need to bring the bus closer to the pavement. So eventually did it, but it did take a bit of delay and time, to do that. And then when we arrived at the college, he pulled up by a tree.
Yeah.
And how are you supposed to get off as a wheelchair user if there's a tree in front of the exit? So we had to ask him to move the bus forward. So there's maybe a bit of training needs going on, to be aware of wheelchair users.
At least he's not one of those drivers who just drives off away from the bus stop without leaving you on, because I've noticed that happening with some people where they drive off and leave the wheelchair user on. So
You know what,
that's not acceptable. I mean, my daughter said, and she interjected, if there's prams in the space, the wheelchair person takes priority over somebody with their buggy. And
because that space is what is for that person.
Yeah.
So obviously,
Angela, I think me and you should go on a bus journey, and I'll show you what it's like with the wheelchair.
Do you know what? That's a really good idea.
Tarek, can I join as well? Because I might as well see. I think it's best if I join as well and see it for my own eyes.
Yeah, I could.
Let's do this, because it opened my eyes, to how challenging it is. In actual fact, there are 2 wheelchair users in the group, and if we go somewhere by bus, we have to catch separate buses. We cannot travel as one group.
Yeah, I don't know where, but we'll think of something.
Yeah, but let's do it. Offline. Let's sort out a time. And that will certainly raise awareness with able-bodied people like myself and Arjun, the issues that you face trying to get around Southall and the surrounding areas. Yeah, thank you for that. So we will definitely, certainly I will take you up on the offer. I'm sure Arjun will, because you are a prolific public transport campaigner. And I'm in agreement that public services, transport services need to be better. So if I can return to Warren Farm, it's been in the news quite a bit. Take care, Tarek. Lovely to see you. Thank you for coming, and thank you for sharing your story. Appreciate it. Yeah, so Warren Farm, and there was a cabinet meeting, I think it was last week, and basically the cabinet voted through the plans to build a sports centre on that site. And I didn't actually watch the cabinet meeting.
Those cabinet meetings were a waste of time, because it's just a waste of time anyway, so there's no point really. Yeah,
but what tickled me, Arjun,
I heard,
was the exploitation of children in Southall. I live in Southall Green, and it's really difficult to get to Warren Farm by public transport. And I was asking you about this. I mean, I admit, I hold my hands up, I'm a car driver, and I drive down Wimwell Lane every day, and I think, well, how would I get here by bus? And you said 483, which would move from
because it goes near because what they've done, they rerouted it to go to do you know where the Home Barg is near the Iron Bridge?
Yeah.
There's like that little roundabout where it turns around, and they built this bus stand there.
Yeah.
So
does it terminate? Does it terminate there then?
Yeah. But you're gonna have to. It stops on the other side of the home where the Home Bargains is. So you're not facing the direction towards the bridge. You're facing the three. So
you have to walk back on yourself.
The 3 bridges. Yeah, you're facing the 3 bridges bridge.
Yeah, and so for us, you'd have to get The 195, as you said,
Yeah,
to
195 to
Ealing Hospital, and
It's
then
best to go.
483.
The best to
Or
go
you
into
get
the
any
ground.
bus to, you know, the Iron Bridge, and then you walk from the Iron Bridge.
Yeah.
But I estimate it's probably a good 15
It's
minutes walk.
probably for me.
I mean, again, I'll have to do it with you to see exactly how long it's going to take.
Yeah.
But, you know, we live, and I'm not ashamed to say this, in a poor part of Southall. And, you know, not everybody has a car. I see lots of mums with pushchairs. You know, poverty is a reality. And for parents who are struggling to pay the bills, the last thing on their mind is to regularly go to Warren Farm for sports facilities. You know, when within walking distance, we have the Mooga, the multi-use games area on Spencer Street, and likewise in Southall Reg. But these are areas that are shamefully neglected. Yeah. And if the council's serious about reducing air pollution, surely it's common sense that facilities should be on residents' doorsteps within walking or cycling distance, or failing that, you know, a short bus ride away. But preferably walking or cycling for the young.
I can give you an example. I live on Greenland Crescent on the side of where Emerald Square is. We got I take my neighbour's dog out to that little park just for like a 5-10 minute, you know, run around so she can just do what she needs to do as a dog. And I take her there. You see, they're split into 3 sections. So we have one place which is like a little kids area. Do you know you get these blue like fences, like these metal fences? That's broken off its screws, and now it's just sitting behind a bin. We have rubbish bins which are broken, sharp, sharp and dangerous, just lying in the middle of the park sometimes or near the entrances. And we have a little the size of the dog park is about the size of a normal room. It's like the size of a box room in a house. It's that small. How do you expect a dog, like a big dog, like somebody like my neighbour's dog, to come out and run around? And then they got this big middle area. What for? You know, nobody really uses that space. It's just an empty space with like a bit of astro and a bit of grass. You know,
yeah. But something's going wrong, because if there's a lot of young people, I think from what I've seen, that area again is neglected. You know,
it is neglected because
poor quality play equipment.
You know, they haven't refurbished it because it's in dire need of refurbishment. That's what I reached Ealing. Like I said in the first meeting, I reached out to Ealing Council through Sharma. Sharma said, "Oh, I'll put you through to somebody at Ealing Council." Like, okay, thank you. Waited like a month, and then they sent me a response back. This was in this time today last year exactly, and their response is, "Oh, we're waiting for funding. We haven't received any funding. Please wait, we'll email you back." A year later, where am I?
Yeah, I feel your pain.
Especially because
it's the same with trying to get Spencer Street refurbished. It's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, so I'm not campaigning for just like only transport. I'm campaigning to make Emerald Square a safer place, because it's dark. I get home at 5 o'clock, sometimes maybe 6, and I'll go and see my neighbour. He's like, "Oh, can you take her for a walk?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I don't mind," because we treat her as if she's our own dog.
But it should be a place where neighbours can exercise. Like you say, you've got that large area, underused. And it's a shame.
Yeah.
Now, is that site? Is it a housing association site, or is it council owned?
I think I have to double. I think it's not council owned. But I have to. Well, who else do I have to contact though? You know.
Yeah, I totally agree. You've got
So
to find a way.
I've got to
forward.
find a way
Yeah,
of calling somebody.
Yeah.
I
I mean, do you know that used to be? Sorry, carry on.
So yeah, if I can just say a few things on this Warren Farm thing. I did watch this council meeting, but I caught the second half of it on Zoom, and it was a complete joke. Every single councillor present was just singing the praises of their plans, and all they were talking about is, you know, Southall's desperate for sports facilities, completely ignoring the points that you've just made about, you know, they're completely neglecting all the facilities in the centre of Southall. And to be honest, it wouldn't cost that much money, would it, really, to invest in some of these local playgrounds and sports fields and stuff, but they were just plugging it and plugging it and plugging it. And I think that the what's the expression, like the elephant in the room is Virendra Sharma has not said a word about this. And call me a conspiracist, but I think their sole purpose is lining this up for Southall FC to use. Southall FC, whose director is Virendra Sharma's son. There's been news items about Southall FC wanting to move to.
It was all over
Warren
Twitter,
Farm.
Steve, because it was only Sunday where I checked, and everybody was talking about it.
Yeah,
And,
I'm sure we all follow Virendra on Twitter. He's not said a single word about this. He's keeping his head down until they, you know, line up the contract for his son to take over the sports field. I think it's, and you know, they had a public consultation, but as the council always do, they completely ignored the consultation. No, tiny numbers said they wanted sports facilities on Warren Farm, because as you say, the public transport links are not good at all for people that don't have cars. So I think it's yet another example of the council just putting two fingers up to the community, doing what they want. I honestly think I would put money on the fact that Southall FC will move there once it's developed.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. And you know, a little bit of history. Emerald Square used to be the site of Southall Football Club until it was sold off for housing. So, you know, I wholly support all the campaigners who are saying it needs to be a nature reserve, not just part of the site, but the entire site. And if you go in and build a sports centre and football pitches, you are dewilding the area.
And if you look at the plans,
nature.
If you look at the plans, the diagrams, it's a substantial proportion of the total site that's going to be converted into football fields and what have you.
It's just madness. It's not what people want. You know, we need space, we need nature, we need ecology, and we need an area that's protected from the really aggressive overdevelopment of Ealing. And, you know, it's really sending out a message that the council don't care about climate change and the environment, that they're just paying lip service to it. I mean,
I can say all their talk about LTNs and ULEZ and 20-minute cities, you know, they all claim it's about the environment. It's not. It's about money. It's about generating income for them and control.
You know,
yeah, 100%.
Just like
you know, if you look at the CPZ, they're extending the CPZ to incorporate Scots Road, Balfour Road,
Western Road, isn't it as well? Is it Western Road?
Not Western Road, but you know, these are roads which are not near, you know, the station or major shops. It's just about income generation at the end of the day.
Completely. I read yesterday they've got plans for 25 new LTNs, 20-mile limits on every road in the borough. And what's the other thing? Oh yeah, in their local plan, in the Ealing local plan, it overtly talks about this 20-minute city thing. I don't know if any of you know
20-minute neighbourhoods.
Yes, yeah. It's Oxford is one of the first cities that have gone for it, but there's a lot of people unhappy about it, thinking basically they're going to be charged if they go beyond the limits of their zone.
Well, it sounds very much about controlling people.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you know, based on what I've seen of Ealing Council, they're not going to be providing the infrastructure that people need to live their lives within a 20-minute area. You know, it's just ridiculous. And it's just so frustrating that they're holding these consultations. And no, you know, they were launched just before Christmas. You know, what people were going to be spending their Christmas holidays reading all these lengthy documents to respond by. I mean, the local plan was originally the 25th of this month. And then as a result of residents complaining, it's been extended to the 8th of February. It's just a bit farcical, really, because there were walkabouts before Christmas, I think on the 15th of December, which were cancelled due to the weather. I went to the local plan meeting in Southall, and I would have to say the vast majority of people were not from Southall. They turned up from other parts of the borough, and their concern, as you say, Steve, was about the 20-minute neighbourhoods as a way of bringing back LTNs in another guise. But the frustration was, for me, it took away the focus on what is happening in Southall. And the number of high-rise developments that have either been built or been planned for or partway constructed is just crazy. I was on the bus the other day and I could see the arches. Obviously, those have been demolished.
Yeah, it's because
but
of
there was a digger, you know, on that site.
The council says it's because of Crossrail. That's why they're building all these houses. When really, it's money, I think.
Yeah, for sure. You know, they're not within the price range of local people.
Especially, as you said to me last meeting, it's the younger generation, isn't it, that will buy these houses. So it's not, if you think about it, there might be first-time buyers, they might not even bought a house before. How are they going to afford it?
Well, you know, I don't know. I doubt very much my children will be able to afford it, and they're not unintelligent.
I'm living with my parents now, but when I move out into my own place, I'm definitely not going to afford it.
Yeah, it's priced ridiculously. And you know, we walked down, you know, the Strait. I don't know if you know the Strait. It's like an exclusive road for people who live on the gasworks side, you know, the Green Quarter. I haven't
been down the gasworks in ages.
Oh, okay. But it's like their exclusive road to walk to the station.
Yeah.
And there's no integration really with the rest of Southall. And it feels a bit surreal, actually, walking down this road. And then parallel to it, you've got Beaconsfield Road, which is really grim. You know, we've already talked about the fly tipping and the broken pavements and the neglect. And, you know, the fact that Southall College used to be Southall College of Technology. It's diminished greatly from, you know, its heyday. The sports centre shut down. But, you know, the new residents, you know, they are, I guess, reasonably affluent because they're travelling on Crossrail, I guess, for work, but also for shopping.
You know, even travelling on Crossrail is really, really expensive. From West Ealing to Southall, when the E7s are running like rubbish because I have to go to Greenford to, you know, connect, and Greenford in itself is exactly like Southall. Everything's a complete standstill. Broadway, down towards the station, down Ingram Way, near the Bridge Hotel, you know, leading onto the A40s. It's absolutely mad. So I had to get a train in. So I get go from Greenford to West Ealing, and then West Ealing to Southall. And in that itself is around about £3 something, just for that small half-an-hour journey.
Yeah, it's just really unaffordable for many of us who live in Southall.
Yeah,
I've only been on the Elizabeth line once, and that was because I had an early morning conference to go to at Hammersmith Hospital.
We went when was it?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, and tell a lie. Also to visit a relative, but it's not something I plan to do regularly because the cost is astronomical. Sometimes I go to Westfield with my kids. We go by bus because it's cheaper, and
but that's if you're lucky. That's if you're lucky, if you can get a bus at the moment with all these strikes.
Yeah,
but I find that the quickest way, because I had to go to Custom House for Excel. So that in itself cost around £3, £4.50 one way. And
Yeah, it's
then
a
it
lot.
got basically
Mm.
£9 plus £3.20, £11, just over 20p shy over £11 for my travel, because I had to get the bus there, get the bus back, plus the 2 trains, and then plus we got caught in rush hour and the Elizabeth lines were cancelled, so we took an even longer route, which added an extra £6 on my journey because it took it down as an incomplete transaction.
Yeah, public transport, it definitely needs to be cheaper. It's just,
But
you know,
Khan
becoming
Khan
far
is saying it's
too
the
expensive.
Mayor of
and-
London is saying it's because of this cost of living crisis, the prices also got for using the transport network.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's not great, is it? As you say, the delays, the cancellations, the overcrowding.
because I tend to go from here to Harrow and Wealdstone, which is in a different borough of Harrow, and then I have to go through Paddington on the Elizabeth line, then connect to the Bakerloo line, which itself, the train to Harrow runs every 15 minutes. So if I have to time the trains right to get the right train at the right time.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
even that in itself is quite rubbish, because there's so many bus links we need, but we don't have for Southall.
Yeah, to travel from West to Northwest London is horrible.
Yeah, I don't mind the journey. I'm used to doing the journey, but but we need a direct service which connects, let's say, Greenford, Southall, and Harrow together. Then it'll be much easier. Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be an express service, maybe it could be a stopping service, but we need that. There's lots of connections which we need that we don't have.
Yeah. So what is the bus service that we have to Harrow? Do we so we don't have a bus service all the
No,
way
we
to
don't have the
Harrow?
bus service all the way
Right.
to Harrow. We have to
So
get
what is the 120 to
195
Norfolk then, is it?
No, 195 to Hayes and Harlington get the X140 or the 140.
Yeah. And that,
Because-
makes it
because the
difficult in
one-
terms of, employment and,
Because
certainly
all the bus
I would rule
companies-
out jobs in Harrow. It just
Yeah, no,
takes too
because
long to get
bus
there.
companies in themselves are hiring agency drivers because they're that short, because nobody wants to work because of the working conditions. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
that bad that, even the agencies are running short of drivers because they're all out everywhere already trying to keep a service. It's tough.
Yeah, but don't worry too much about it,
Yeah.
because Peter Mason and the councillors did say that good jobs are coming back to Southall.
Yeah, but
What
where?
jobs are
What
those?
jobs?
What jobs are those? Because I've asked the question. I asked Steve, the senior council officer at the local plan meeting, and he didn't answer the question. What
They can't
sectors are they
answer the question.
hoping to attract? It's
They-
all
they-
a mystery
they're
to
giving-
me.
They're giving us a carrot as usual. You see, one thing you guys are missing, and that is the fact of life in Southall, and it's been like this for the past 60 odd years. And the reason behind that is our councillors, number one, are deaf, and number two, our councillors are blind. Nobody gives two damns about the people of Southall. It's what they can do for themselves and what they can get for their friends. And this is the game that's been going on for the last 60 odd years. And I don't see it stopping, because you're talking about social clubs. If you look at the institutes that we have in Southall, the religious institutes in Southall, those are vote banks for the councillors. So they're not going to open a social club. I mean, when we went for the walk with the university, you saw what they're doing to the gasworks, the gym. It's for their people only. And talk about having two-tier people, two-tier residents in Southall, and that's what you're going to end up with. You're going to have people using Southall, whereas you talk about beds in sheds. Well, people are only going to come to Southall to go to sleep and wake up in the morning and disappear down the railway line.
Yeah, they're not going to be interested in doing any shopping in Southall. So there's going to be no benefit of their income locally.
there's not going to be no community. For the simple fact is, it's a two-tier community,
Yeah.
and this is how it's happening. If you go to other places, you will see it, and that's going to happen in. Well, it's already happening in Southall.
Yeah. Is it Joe on the call? Because
It
you
is.
know,
It is me.
yeah.
It is me.
Yeah, nice that you've joined us. Yeah, because Joe was referencing the Parkside Club, which is an exclusive leisure facility on the gasworks on the Green Quarter site, not for those who live in the social housing, not even for those who live in shared ownership. It's exclusively for those who own privately.
Shameful.
And I think that's disgraceful.
Of course,
You know,
it's South Africa all over again.
Yeah, it is
That's what it is.
segregation.
Of course, 100%.
There's no way, you know, no two ways to, you know, look at this. It is, call a spade, you know, keeping people apart. And I find it shocking that this has been allowed to happen. And, you know, what are the facilities for the residents who are not, you know, private owners? We've lost our sports centre. You know, that's shut down.
I think, Angela,
do you know what makes me angry, Joe?
Yeah.
I went on Desi Radio, and Rajinder Singh was on the radio station, and Councillor Jasbir Anand, and she pointedly said, "Yeah, let's go Southall." There was no sauna, and I thought, hang on a minute. I used to use the sports centre. I used to see the ladies who used to congregate there just to use the sauna because it was their safe space to have a chat and probably put the wall to rights and sort out personal problems.
Yep.
And I just think it's unacceptable that somebody was either misinformed, she was either misinformed or she told a blatant lie.
But didn't you see her at the meeting at Southall Town Hall? I don't even want to use their name, tell you the truth. That's how disgusted I am with them. The picture that they say that, you know, all smiles, etc. I don't think so. Everybody was in depression. If you look at the picture,
that was my joke. The second photograph that included Councillor Anand,
is depression.
She
they were all
looked
in depression.
miserable, and there were other people. Sorry, I don't know names. They looked glum.
They all look alike.
Yeah.
They're cloning.
The only two people smiling in the first photograph was
religious.
The guy who works for
Mark.
Yeah, Mark Paulson, Reverend Mark Paulson.
Yeah, he's always smiling. Yeah, plenty of money from the churches.
Yeah. What's the name of the guy who works for Barclay Group? Smiley everywhere, here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah. Mr.
He was
Mr. Fix-It.
Yeah.
Jag Terrible Sangira.
Yeah.
Mr.
It's absolutely disheartening, you know. And they shared a Facebook post about how at that meeting they discussed the local plan, but no detail as to what the attendees thought of the local plan.
Do you know what I also noticed on Facebook? On Facebook, is the council putting out, complete this survey to shape the council's thing for the next until 2026 and all that sort of rubbish. I just skip past them and I'm like, well, they're not going to listen to us, will they? You know.
Yeah. I feel the same actually, because when you look at going back to Warren Farm, there was a consultation, and I think there were two consultations, and you know, it overwhelmingly showed that residents did not want sports facilities on that site, yet they're going ahead and doing as they see fit. And Peter Mason has the cheek to say, it's a win-win situation, win for residents, a win
that's all lies.
It's only
a win for the council.
Who's appointed him an ecological expert all of a sudden?
Yeah, he
was appointed by Sharma, wasn't he, for Southall? I understand that it was Mr. Sharma's idea to bring him into the Green so he could concentrate with the developers, because all the other councillors are thick as two planks, aren't they? So they needed somebody who could go ahead and sort things out with the local developers. That's what I was told by one of the ex-councillors.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. And have you noticed John Martin seems to turn up at the event, whether or not?
That reminds me about Councillor John Martin, because I got into an argument with him about, because he wants to extend the bus service to West Middlesex Hospital, so we have a secure connection to West Middlesex Hospital. Yeah, and he said, "Oh, extend the E5, extend the E5," when that in itself is a long enough sort of route, Perivale, Greenford, Southall. I mean, ideally, H32 should be. I was just telling him, "Oh, said route H32, extend it from Hounslow, just only 5-6 stops extra down to West Middlesex. It's only a half an hour route compared to what a 45-50 minute E5." I'll send you the tweets, Angela, and you can have a look.
Yeah, well, you know, because you use public transport, you know what is realistic.
I've used public transport for the
accessible.
past 15 years, so
Yeah.
Obviously I know my stuff.
Yeah, but you know, look at the meeting we attended at Southall Town Hall, and what did Peter Mason do after the meeting? He jumped into another
Porsche.
councillor's car. Yeah, Porsche.
I remember.
know,
I saw the
He
He
tweet.
only lives down the road at Ealing Hospital.
After walking over all the homeless people, shame on them.
Yeah, they're the biggest hypocrites out.
They actually walked over those people who were lying there in the footpath, and I actually took time later on to speak to those people. And these are the people who are supposed to be governing us. Shame on all of them.
Yeah, it was disgraceful
Shame.
actually
That's all I
to
have to say. Shame
step
on all of them.
over or sidestep somebody lying
councillors.
prostrate on the ground.
All
And
the
surely a
councillors.
decent, humane person would have said, "Do you need any assistance?" You know, they're a street
They're
link.
unhumane.
If the person
They're
said no
unhumane.
thanks, fair enough. But you know, if they clearly needed help, there's an organisation called Street Link who will then go
Heartless
out
people.
and
Heartless people. That's what they are.
you know, collect the homeless person and provide shelter for them.
And that twat
it's
driving the
disgusting and-
Porsche.
Yeah,
I think that twat driving the Porsche is supposed to be a doctor. What a twat.
yeah. Lack of humanity, really.
Unhumane,
And-
heartless people.
Yeah, it's an absolute disgrace.
And the
And
Reverend.
it just makes
Mark.
me so angry that they've used children to make their case
Yeah.
to build sports facilities, knowing full well that these children will not access these facilities.
There
It
won't
will
be
only
no
be for
awkward.
those.
It's awkward,
Yeah.
it's difficult, it may not be free. You know, I look at when my children were at primary school, and primary schools have a statutory duty to provide swimming lessons, and I had to pay £50 per half term for them to be transported by coach from Derry Meadow School.
Derry Meadow,
to,
yeah, to the Dormers Wells Leisure.
Oh, no, not Dormers Wells.
Because when I was
Hall
in,
Green. It was farm because of the traffic. It was easier to get to.
because when I was
Hall
in,
Green.
because funnily enough, I went Derry Meadow, and when I was there, we used to do it in year 4. We used to go to Dormers Wells.
Dormers Wells, yeah.
Yeah,
But
because
you know,
it used to be.
basically parents have to pay for this, and
No,
I think there were
for
some
us,
parents who just
for
could
me,
not afford, and I
I think-
presume the school just subsidised the cost for them completely.
I think for me it was free. I think we got 3 lessons. I'm not
Hmm.
sure, but either way, I still don't remember paying anything.
Yeah,
The
Yeah.
football
but
stadium.
certainly, you know, as a parent, you know, if my children go on trips, I have to pay for those trips. I just can't see how a school is going to be able to ask parents to pay for the cost of travel to Warren Farm. And I know, don't know what high school you went to.
I went Cranford.
You went to Cranford. Oh, sorry, you
Yeah,
did say.
Yeah.
Yeah, my two go to Featherstone High School. But when there's a local event on for the primary schools, they either walk or have to catch the bus to the school. And likewise, when one of my daughters was in a football tournament, and I can't remember which school it was, but over the other side of Southall, not Old Southall. And she had to walk and catch the bus, you know.
For us, even now when we go to trips in West Thames College over the last year, I only had one trip last year. Only one, because the college, we're trying to save money.
Yeah.
Because of what's going on.
Public services are strapped for cash, and there's not enough resources to provide, for example, assistive technologies in the classroom, and it does have an impact on learners. So, trips, are way down the list of priorities.
Because even on trips in in Cranford Community, when we went, we had to use the bus and train to get to where we needed to go, because the school couldn't afford a coach. Exactly.
But can you imagine how much time is going to be taken up if you go to school in Old Southall, for example, Clifton Primary, or Derry Meadow or wherever, how long it's going to take? And at the same time, the school has to balance. Yeah, it's important for children to, participate in.
Because do you know what we had to do?
But at the same time, there are other lessons, and they cannot spend the best part of the day, getting to Warren Farm.
Because if I remember correctly, we used to walk out the Swift Road entrance, down this creepy alleyway.
Oh, I know it. Yeah.
Yeah. Down Hunt Road, and then up past the Southall Toplops Estate.
Yeah.
Down past Havelock Primary.
Yeah.
Down Merrick Road all the way to the station to get the train sometimes.
Yeah.
Because the Swift Road entrance to the school wasn't even open.
Was it not? Oh, okay.
No, because they only had at the time, and they still have it now. They open it between homes when to drop kids off.
Yeah, because I used to use that entrance. Pick up and drop off times, and then it's locked the rest of the time.
Yeah.
But I think,
and even in Cranford Community, we used to take. We used to get the 111 down to Hounslow Central, get Hounslow East, get the train, and then we used to come back and we used to go our own way from Hounslow East.
Yeah,
Angela,
but the way they've used children to make their cases despicable.
Yeah, no,
Angela,
knowing how much poverty there is where we live.
Angela, you said it yourself. You tried to hide the Dominion Centre, and there was no availability, okay?
That's true.
You honestly think that this football club is going to be kicking a ball around? I personally don't think so, because there's no money in it. The money's going to be hiring it out as a VIP venue. The money's going to be holding concerts there. Asian singers will come. Tickets will be sold. They will be having weddings there. Come on, what's wrong?
That's what they should be using that's what they should be using the manor house for things.
No,
like
brother.
That.
They're going to
weddings.
use it. No. They're going to use the football ground as a venue. Okay. No one ain't going to be kicking a ball there. Okay. Who's going to go and buy a ticket to watch football? Not a lot of people. Okay. They're going to use it as a venue, a VIP venue. They'll be renting it out left, right, and center to bring in the big money. And that's the name of the game. Money is the name of the game. Okay.
At the expense of nature.
Well,
but you know what? Nature wins at the end of the day.
Angela, you just said
one day.
But Angela,
you just said it. We're not going to be here because of how we've treated our planet.
But Angela, you said it yourself. Okay. And I was listening when they were talking about it. They're going to give this to their middle class friends, the manor house. Obviously, the money wasn't rolling in the way they thought, and they said, up yours, and they walked away. Now, what we should do is we should take over the manor house from Ealing Council, okay, and run it for the local people, okay? Because there is no space going to be left here for people like us. The roots of South.
100%, Joe. We do not have a facility where we can meet. And they've spent money on it. Because as you could see, they
Of
had a fancy
course.
kitchen there,
Of
stainless steel
course.
kitchen.
Of course, because they were getting it ready for their friends. I don't want to say on camera what their thinking behind it was, but we can have a private chat about that. So now it's our opportunity, yes, to take over our space. You know, for the
We
roots
need
of
it.
Southall.
We need it, you know, for our health and well-being and
Of course.
connectivity with our community. And it shocks me to see that building empty. It's been empty for years.
Yep.
You know, I can think back to when I worked at Southall Community College.
Yep.
There was supposed to be some kind of partnership with the council and to run a trading restaurant there. And I think it might even have involved Deepner Anand. Is that the name, Deepner Anand? Brilliant restaurant.
Ah,
Yeah.
you hit
Oh,
the nail
Dibner,
on the
sorry,
head.
Dibner.
You hit
Dibner
the
and-
nail on the head.
Sorry, wrong name. But you know, it's supposed to be a wonderful training facility, training you know, chefs and all of that went by the wayside.
They've moved to bigger
yeah,
things. They've moved to bigger things.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You know, it should
Let's put
belong
in
to
a-
us. I mean, they already
let's-
sold. What was the building they sold that used to be the community centre? Is that the banqueting?
That's
suite?
become the marriage palace. The
Is
marriage
that what it's
palace.
called?
The community.
Yeah.
Well, the centre. I think it's called the centre. or
Yeah, that's
something.
it. The centre.
It's a marriage
That's
palace.
it. The centre. Yeah, but we
Yeah,
just
it's
don't
called-
have a
it's the
space where
marriage
we can
palace.
hire. Yeah.
Well, that's
And you
going to
probably-
become a block of
You
flats.
heard.
I
You
understand.
heard Tarek. Oh, I think you're probably on the call, and he said he wants to run an event for disabled people. Where, you know, it's just diabolical.
Manor House. We do it at Manor House. Don't worry.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's
We
take.
we have,
let's
we
take.
have to do something.
Let's get hold
Yeah.
of. Let's get hold of. Let's get hold of our asset, because that is the people's asset. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's start working on that. Because they've obviously tried it with their middle class friends, and the council probably haven't been giving them enough money, and they've walked away from the project basically.
Yeah.
But it's something that we can organise.
I agree. We need access to publicly owned space. We don't seem to have access to Southall Town
course.
Hall. That seems to be off limits.
No,
about
the
that's
Dominion
that's
Centre?
for the propaganda machine.
Yeah,
Which one?
it's something that we should be able to, you know, access.
What about Dominion Centre?
Of course.
That's not.
You can't touch the Dominion. You can't
can't
touch the
book it.
Dominion
Yeah,
Centre. They're
that's
too
what I'm
far.
trying-
They're too far gone, my friend.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm trying to
They're
say.
too far.
That's
they're
what I was
too
trying to
far
say,
gone.
Joe.
They've got their people in there already, bro.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was exactly going to say that. We've lost access to that as well.
Southall,
Mhm.
Southall is well controlled, and they're controlling Southall. Okay,
Hmm.
it's a very tight network that is controlling
Hmm.
Southall,
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
and
Yeah.
that's what we're finding out, or we have been finding out for the last 10 odd years, of how Southall's controlled. You see, there's people here who think they're going to live forever. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're mistaken. They're mistaken.
Mm.
Yeah. Because nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
You know,
Very true.
it's time now. It's time now that we put our foot down. Yeah. And we get a space. Yeah. Which is for the residents of Southall, not a religious organization. Okay.
Yeah.
Southall people, all Southall people. Okay. Somebody wants to hold their son's birthday party, come in, pay 50 quid, hire the hall out, something like that. You know,
Yeah.
something that
I'm
people
with
can
you. I'm with
afford.
you on that. Because what you're talking about, they have
Mm.
it in Hayes and Harlington Community Centre,
Of course. Of
which,
course.
you know, different
Everybody's got it apart from
groups hire.
Southall.
Yeah. I know.
Everybody's got it
We
apart from
are
Southall, because
so neglected.
we've been controlled. No, not neglected. We've been controlled.
It was
They're playing.
time for it to stop.
They're playing with our minds. They're playing with our minds. Okay.
Yeah.
They want to
But
segregate
it's
us into our
apparent, you know,
religious
that
backgrounds.
I don't know why people are putting up with it, Joe. You know, you look at where I live.
Because the elders,
The amount of poverty,
the
you know,
elders,
people
you
can't
see-
afford to fix their front doors. You know, they put a patch upon the patch on their
and-
front door.
but Angela, the way we've been brought up, okay, the head of the family, the father, the mother, yeah, they will say, no, not that way. You have to walk this way. Okay. And it's only now I can see that the youngsters, yeah, mindset has changed. That's what I'm seeing. The mindset of the youngsters has changed. I've got grown up children on my own. Yeah. And it's not the way that we were brought up. Does it make sense?
Yeah, yeah. There has to be active questioning and resistance
Of course.
and
Of
challenge.
course.
Yeah.
Well, that's why the councillors,
And it's not
that's
just
why the councillors can't,
accepting and
the
being
councillors can't have-
indoctrinated by these people.
but that's why the councillors can't have an open meeting with us. You with me? We
When
have
was the
too many
last time
questions
they
for them.
held
They-
okay,
can't
ward
remember.
forums,
I can't
you know, no
remember.
longer exist. I noticed on
We
the
have to go to their
council
houses,
website,
Angela.
apparently,
I-
I think they still hold surgeries
They can
last
never
Friday of
cover.
the month, apart from Peter Mason. There was no details on
and-
his page.
Angela, I've said this before and I'll say it again, okay? We've got to go knocking on their doors on a Saturday morning and wake them up and have a meeting with them, okay? Because that's the power of the people. They're not going to
We'll
come
do
to
it.
us.
We'll do it,
We
Joe.
have to
We'll
go to
do
them.
it. We'll do
We
it
have to go to
because
them because we pay their wages. They're public servants, okay? Yeah, this is the thing you mustn't forget. We have the control. They don't. They work for us. That's the difference. That's why
it's time
Mr.
to wrestle,
Sharma
time
hides
to wrestle
himself
back that
upstairs.
control.
Of course, because I was going to say, anybody who's disabled or old, they can't even walk the 50 odd steps to Mr. Sharma's office. He's hiding himself up there in a nest, away from the residents, because they fear the residents. They can't answer the questions. It's very simple. You know, they cannot answer the questions.
And
So
do you know his
then they only
meeting
come
on
up with
Saturday
one
is going to
thing.
be online, which is about control, because they'll have
You're
everybody
not gonna-
muted. You know, all the
You're not gonna
microphones
get
apart
in.
from
They-
theirs will be
they-
locked.
You can't answer, you can't ask them a question, okay? It's control. They're control freaks. Why don't you understand?
Yeah, for
The
sure.
local Labour Party in Southall are control freaks. Anything they can't answer, they then use the word they're troublemakers. You ask too many questions, you become a troublemaker. You understand? That's how they are control
Or
freaks.
blocked like me,
They're
blocked
deaf.
on Twitter.
They're deaf, they're blind, and they're control freaks. Okay,
Yeah.
and everybody knows the Labour Party had blood on their hands after Tony Blair went to Parliament telling lies about Iraq, about Libya. We all know that. We're grown up. But some people are still naive and stupid. They don't understand what's going around them or what's happening around them. And that's the fact. And that's what we're living in. And that's why Southall is a dustbin, because our councillors are blind. And
But
they're
don't
deaf.
people get, you know, this local plan? Has anybody responded to the consultation? Because I know, Arjun, you said, what's the point? And I feel what you're saying, because after what happened with Warren Farm, you think, well, yeah, what's the point of sharing my views? Because the
I don't
council
see
will
it.
do what
No,
it
they
wants to
don't,
do
they don't
anyway.
care. They have
Yeah.
zero care for anybody.
Yeah. But, you know, look
You're
at
wasting your time,
let's go
You're
south.
wasting
I'm
your
actually
precious
going to
time.
do their cycling training tomorrow. But realistically, how many people are going to be cycling from where we live to the Uxbridge Road? It's just so dangerous, so congested.
But
I
somebody
can't see
might
it
have
being a regular pastime, or even a way to get to
but have you
work and
got
do shopping.
have you got a death wish to ride a bicycle in Southall? People don't know how to drive a damn car in Southall, let alone a bicycle.
Yeah.
No,
You're right.
come
I
on,
think a lot of these
let's be
bikes will
grown
end
up.
up on Facebook
Ealing Hospital,
Marketplace
Ealing
and
Hospital.
eBay. Yeah. But it's
Come
just
on.
nonsense,
Let's
isn't it?
be
Really, it's
grown
not.
up.
Actually,
Let's be
it's
grown up about
doing
it.
to us what they think
It's a gimmick.
we need, not
It's a
actually
gimmick to make
listening
money.
to what we need.
It's a gimmick to make money. That's all it is. I counted them on my street once. There were 4 people riding bicycles, and I said, "That's £1 million each."
Yeah,
Ealing
it's
Council
it's like, you know,
find ways.
a way
Ealing
of
Council
saying, you know,
find
we will
ways
tell you what you
of getting
need. Sort of
revenue from the central
patriarchal
government
view. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 to get money from
Sorry.
central government, and then they know how to squander it. It's very simple. Come on, all right. And those English people riding those bikes, they don't even live in South. All right, on the
100%.
photographs, they're all bought
Sure.
in just for the picture.
And good money
It's
for
ridiculous what's happening in South.
ex
And jump on.
stockbrokers to come out of retirement and top up their pension fund.
Well,
Yeah, it's just
a blind
ridiculous.
man should be able to see what's happening in South. We're being bluffed, we're being lied to, all right? And this is the way it's been for many, many, many years.
But can I butt
And it
in?
has to stop.
I would like to
Please,
say a
Dan.
word. The problem is the people of Southall don't really care. Come off it. The 70,000
True.
residents here, where are they, mate?
Yeah.
At this moment, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of us here on this Zoom meeting, and it's called Southall Matters. So
Southall does
7.
matter.
What percentage is 7 out of 70,000? 10% is 7,000. 1% is 700. 0.1 is 70. So 0.01 representation here. So,
But we're
it's quite
sharing our
easy.
thoughts.
Yeah,
No,
we're sharing
but
we're sharing our thoughts, which is good. We've been sharing our thoughts for years and years now. The problem is there's no unity, and Ealing Council, the councillors, do realise that when there's no
They're enjoying it.
disunity, someone could come in and do anything they want to the community. That gentleman who came earlier on, the disabled one, for Christ's sake,
Tarek.
you could now. He's independent. Yeah, he's just come in. Maybe he's been here a week or two, and he's shown you his views. Look at the lack of facilities that we've got. What is going on? The problem is the people are not united. They don't care. So what can we do ourselves? We can't do nothing. We can talk about it, but are we going to get any results?
We
No,
can
we're
do
not.
True.
We can't. We
Oh.
can't do anything.
We're a
There's
pain.
nothing.
We're a pain and we're a
No,
pain
not
up their
really.
butt,
No,
my
mate. No. I disagree with that. There's no pain.
Well,
Nothing at
well,
all,
you
mate.
should start coming to the meetings.
I
If you
do,
come
mate.
to the meetings, then you'll understand.
Yeah, I've seen the meetings. Nothing happens.
Brother, they were panicking. They were panicking in Manor
It doesn't
House
matter if
that
they
day.
panic or not. Yeah, I understand that. But what you want is a results. People like to see results at the end of the day.
True.
Anything.
Well, come out.
So
May I?
Come out when we go knocking on their door on a Saturday morning, my friend, and then
I've
you'll
been
see.
saying that. I've been saying that for the last 7 months, mate.
Knocking on the door is not going to help.
7 months. No one's done
What's
it.
that?
We're talking
Sorry,
about
what's not going to help?
going and protesting or knocking on someone's door like the councillors. I've been saying that for the last 7, 8 months. No one's gone.
The whole point of knocking on people's doors, yeah, doesn't help. But the simple fact is, yeah, that people at the moment, yeah, are in dire straits. All right, they're worried about their livelihood. They're worried about bringing their children up. Yeah, I'm talking about knocking on the doors of the councillors because they're the ones who are hiding from us.
Yeah, that is we talked. Me and Angela, we talked about that way back in July. There's been so far one protest meeting at the end of October for Southall Community Alliance, where they refused to let, which is supposed to be an open public forum. They refused. Certain people said, "Oh, you had to go in and let us know by email. Then it's invites only." With our very own eyes, we saw people walking in. Well, no, you didn't even know about the meeting, and yet they walked in. So that was what, end of October. November's gone, December's gone, January, 3 months. Have we done anything about it? No.
But we know they're biased.
Listen, it's not about
You
knowing.
make it sound as if it's a shock. No, but you're
not a
making
shock.
it sound as if it's a shock.
No, what I'm saying is there's too much inaction. There is too much inaction. One needs to go out and actually, with some grit, with some perseverance, spread the word and actually do something about it.
They're chiseling crooks, mate, and we know that, okay? And I think you know that in your heart. you know what they're about, okay? They're about making money. That's all they're
Yeah, so
interested
if
in.
you know
They're
that-
not interested in the
if
community.
you know some injustice is being taking place, or
Of course.
criminals operating here,
It is.
you nearly believe that knowledge in itself does not do you any good. Action does, resolution does, an outcome does.
I'll agree with
Yeah.
you. I'm not going to disagree.
No, there's never.
I'm wholeheartedly agreeing with you. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think
But if
we try our best, and that's what we
Hmm.
can
You know
do.
what we need?
And
We need a group of people to come out and knock on the councillors' doors. Then they'll understand who they're up against. Not
of
just
course,
Joe,
What
not just Angela. We need like a group of people that
councillors?
actually
Oh,
care.
man, councillors is one thing,
they're,
right?
they're,
Knocking up councillors' orders is one thing, but what's it in it for the public interest? A lot of people aren't even coming out, talking about things. Everyone's shut it up, locking in their own homes. It's the way it goes.
you
Unfortunately, it's
belong-
the way it is.
no, I'll explain to you why it's like that. When we stood for councillors in Southall, we were putting out leaflets on the Broadway, okay, in the shops.
Hmm,
All
yeah.
right. In the morning, those leaflets were disappearing.
True.
Okay. So we would go to the shop and we would ask the shop, yeah, what happened to the leaflet? Oh, somebody
Yeah.
came and took it down. Any idea who? Well, we found out who they were. They were from Southall Temple.
Hmm.
Okay. They had people from Southall Temple going around and taking the posters off. All right. So
Yeah.
religion is involved in politics. That's what I'm trying to say to you guys.
So
And
what one does
the
is
councillors need
there's a body called the Electoral Commission. You go and report it. So that was way back in March, April,
the
9
council, the
9 months
councillors,
ago.
the councillors need the religious houses because that's their vote bank. So they don't give a
on.
monkey about the public. They don't care about the public. Their votes
you
come
just
from
take a-
those vote banks.
Yeah. No, but hold on a second. If you just take out Southall out of the picture, we're talking about the country, whole nation, right? If you look at certain places, if you go down Mayfair, you go down Hanwell, you go down Ealing, even most of these places are quite privileged compared to Southall. Southall is congestion. If you look at UB2, for example, look at the living standards. I don't know if you've actually been in these homes, right? A majority of them are not even up to standard. They got rats, they got mice infections. So what's going on? Nobody cares. Even some of these restaurants pay fines, walk off. This is the way it is. It goes back doors, hand to hand. It's the way it works, you see. And now there's like apparently this in the education system, they're saying that they're going to spend several billions to re-educate children because of what Andrew Tate's been putting into young men, because they think it's misogyny, is doing this, you know what I mean, being a man. But that's a different matter altogether. It's the way it is. Most people aren't doing anything, and now, especially during the pandemic, everyone's locked down, everyone's on the phone. It's the way it controls people. Is that like Andrew Tate says, you have to escape the matrix. You see, once you're caught up in it, and you're just being controlled. What other way are you going to do? You see what I mean? People aren't doing anything. You see what I mean? If you look at in America, what they did, Black Lives Matter, everybody comes out. They don't tolerate. In this country, people tolerate pretty much everything. See what I mean? Certain things, you go around walking in public, if no one's going to say anything to you, it's just tolerance. You know what I mean? And that's why living costs going to be going up. People don't say anything. They keep filling in their pockets. You see, I mean, I've seen people complaining about, oh, this gone expensive, that's gone expensive. But of course, it's going to be expensive because people are just, you know what I mean? Public matters. What the public, look, let me put it this way, right? Everybody pays taxes. You pay taxes, I pay, everybody pays taxes, right? Your income, right? You pay tax. You can't decide where that money goes. A citizen cannot decide where that money goes. They can't. It goes into the governments. They take the money. There's a whole circulation that goes around. That money goes in. You can't do anything. What goes along to your money, whatever happens to your money, you cannot decide. It's just, you know what I mean? It's out of your reach. So, but on public, then you have democracy, which allows you to be, protesting. This is why they've done it, protesting in, I can't remember where they've done it, but they've done it, I think, Hansel or whatever. Traffic wardens going out on strikes. This is the thing, earlier somebody actually mentioned about these bus drivers. But then again, I have friends who are bus drivers. It's a headache. They're paying about 800 a month, 600 going in the pocket. Look what they get. It's absolutely a headache. Minimum wage is not cutting it for people. Back in the day, £20 an hour, you could make, doing about 40 hours for 40 grand a year, after taxes 32. You know what I mean? It's the way it is. The money, rich people become rich, and poor because people become poor. It's the way it goes. You go, where are you going to go? You invest in crypto, for example, you invest in certain places, trying to make business and stuff. It goes back. You're making the richer more rich. However way you do it, you're making them more rich. If you if you wealthify them, this is the way it goes, unfortunately. An average person can only do so much. Most people can't even put the food on the table. There's, you know what I mean? It's the economy generally, taken out South out of the picture, economy generally is suffering. However, if you go out into certain areas, they're well off. Because, I mean, look, I was like, I've got one of my uncles lives in Richmond, right? Richmond has one of the best, I was supposed to say again, networks, from roads to canals to the whole, it's just the way it is. Look at Richmond. If you've ever been to Richmond, if you see how it is set up, the infrastructure in Richmond, so much better. Southall, yesterday I was speaking to someone, it's going to become like New York. Buildings over buildings, they're going to demolish houses, make houses. It's the way it goes. You see what I mean? It's like, you know, what's his name again? That guy who used to Shahin Aman Kebab, if you don't know, it was opposite the train station many years ago. He was the only one there. They had to get rid of him. He had no choice. What say there does he have in this matter? You see, the projects come along, the schemes come along, out you go, move. You see what I mean? And then they make it into whatever they need to make it into. They're going to start cramping people all together, and it's the way to make money. You see what I mean? What they do with the money, that's their problem. They say, no.
But he did. He got plenty of money for his shop.
Yeah, he's made a lot of money. Yeah, he's made a lot of money. They paid him for what relocation.
No, what I'm saying is they didn't just take over his shop. Yeah, he actually received.
Yeah,
I'm sure he received a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look what what's the name?
Understand.
Trump was doing in what's the name in Aberdeen in Scotland. Look what he was doing there. He was trying to get these people out. He was personally because he wanted to make a golf, the whole like a golf estate, whatever, for his own luxury and joy. That's what he was doing, and he was trying to take out local residents. Then again, money can bring power. If you look at companies like BlackRock, for example, I was speaking to somebody else. Then again, look how BlackRock comes to rise. Look how BlackRock comes to power. It's money. Some people, I mean, I was speaking to somebody goes, no, power is different. You don't have to, it's got nothing to do with money. Money does a lot of things. However, if we talk about normal organizations, like, if you talk about criminals, for example, they only got so many resources. The government has a lot more resources. So they want to take you down, but that's again different matter. However, talking about Southall, I mean, they are trying to do things like for the cycle lane. I think cycle lane, Uxbridge Road here, opposite Southall Park, double lane comes along, then it makes it into single lane because you got bus lane and a cycle lane. Now, car will come along, which is overtake, and you most likely have accidents here. It's because it goes 2 lanes into 1, and the 2 people, they're competing against. I'll go first, you go first. You give me you give me away, I'll give you away. You see what I mean? I mean, like you mentioned earlier, people can't drive in Southall. You see what I mean? It's the way it is. But like I've said, the rich will keep getting richer, and the average person will be suffering because they don't care. The government doesn't care about you suffering. And then again, it's a privilege. A lot of things people take for granted. You see what I mean? If you think about speeding, right? Speeding is up. These two weren't even meant to be speed cameras here. People abuse the system. They give you a warning. They don't oppress you like they do in America. Pay this, easing off. However, they keep people doing certain things, certain behaviors, and especially with ethnic minorities in certain cultures, they've got this thing in them, unfortunately. However, that does make an impact. You see what I mean? It comes to individual level, sort of, person to person. That's my take on it.
Yeah,
I understand.
I think my take. I mean, yeah.
Saying.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Joe. Yeah.
I honestly thought that when they put the Uxbridge Road at 20 mile an hour, they brought that bus lane in and the cycle lane. I honestly thought the Labour Party were going to lose the election. Okay, but once again, the people proved me wrong. They voted with their feet as usual, and that is sad to see, but it happened.
There's a new scheme that's coming along with this. They can't apparently. I don't know what the government is going to give up to people 9,500 to actually, scrap their cars, which are non-newlers. You see what I mean? But then again, I do understand there are certain things that in public interest it should be eligible, should have the right to do things. But then again, like I was speaking to some people one other day, they're trying to do what's the name again? Put chips in people, trying to chip people. Like they do with pets and animals, dogs and cats. They try to do that with people. They can't do that. There's so many things.
When we got the quarantine, I'm sure we've been chipped already.
They can't chip people. Democracy, human rights.
I'm sure we're chipped already. Don't worry about that.
Psychologically, yeah, control, yeah, but the way you
COVID-19.
control. It's the way look. It's like if you look what's
No,
this is quite
I
interesting
think it's
fact,
in the
yeah.
injections. I think it's in the injections that they've given us already.
No, look.
They probably know everything about it.
Young people nowadays, if you look at a lot of young people, teenagers specifically, right? Yeah, since the pandemic
Yeah.
lockdown, the right is the use of TikTok has gone increased into millions, right? What it is in
Yeah.
China, TikTok isn't even what it is here. All the explicit, all the rubbish they send here. China, the children in Chinese, they get like, education stuff. They get all the good stuff, the good end of things. You see, they get that because they got a very restricted version of TikTok. However, in the West, this is the way it is. Young people don't even care about things. Young people don't even know what voting is. I mean, they do, but on the basics of it, they don't vote. They don't care about anything. Now it's all about, the glam life, and they're trying to live lifestyles in a certain way. I mean, I can tell, I can speak on my specific generation and the upcoming generations, they don't care. As like generation, as for Angelina herself, she would know. You see what I mean? Your generation is going to be a bit more, considerable, taking care. Then again, as you've mentioned, you get a lot of homelessness people out there begging stuff, I mean, you got them on the trains, for example, and they say, oh, please don't give money to these buskers. Sort them out. You see what I mean? Don't let them in. You're letting these people, buskers, come onto the train. How the hell do they get in the trains? You know what I mean? Average person is, you don't tap your card in, you get in trouble, you get a fine, whatever, right? And these lot can walk in and they go on these buses. You see what I mean? And if you just take out Southall again, out of the picture for one more time, if you look at East London, for example, it's not quite rough areas. There's certain areas in London are quite rough. Then again, what's going to happen in Southall? The people who's got the money, they will eventually move out. Look at the rent in Southall, for example. From 1852.
They have moved out.
A lot of people
have
moved
moved out. People with
have
money
moved out.
have left out.
So look at the rent. Look at the rent. You know why the rent is going out? Being a landlord is going to be a biggest headache. Being a landlord, going into the property business, especially with landlords, is going to be a big problem. There's two ways of doing it. First way is, right, you do your pay, you do everything right, the correct way. Guess what? More tax. More landlords have paid tax day, and then what's going to happen is they can increase your rent. Simple as that. You can't do anything. Landlords don't even care. I have some people, I know people got living properties like where they've got these dams. They need hard issue, right? So washing machines in at a property, at a tenant's property, the landlord wouldn't even allow them to remove that switch. You know what I mean? The guy was like, "I'll bring my own washing machine, broken one, I'll replace." Guess what? He wasn't even allowing him. After a couple of days of discussion, debating with him, then he finally allowed him. This is the case. There's so money hungry people, and guess what? They can get away with it. Other way is doing it is say, look, I live in the home, you don't really don't. Then you tax free, and then what you do is you cramp everybody in, make your money. No one cares. If you get ready to get ready, if you don't, you don't. You see what I mean? This is the way it is. Living standards is forget about the living costs. The actual living standards, people cramping people in. This is why Southall became one of the worst when it areas when it came to the pandemic and the lockdown and the coronavirus, because everybody's too cramped. And and then they are actually going to remove these facilities, going to like I mean, what can you do now? Bowling, cinema, go to the park, go to the beach is too far. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, you go to theme parks, you go to Legoland or whatever, Thor Park. Or what are you gonna do? There's only so much you can do. Anyway, this I mean, anything you do will cost you money. You see what I mean?
Of
so
course.
then again, you're stuck. You know what I mean? If you've got family, how do you take your kids out? Kids want to go out. Kids don't want to be restrained. You know what I mean? And then what they do now is to keep people online, get people to lock them in. It's the way psychologically control people. That's what it is. And then, I mean, these things have been going for a very, very long time. They've done this for a very long time. Slowly, just the way to do it. And people are just not really waking up to the reality. They're just so caught up in this, they just don't want to, come out. Or they can't see a way out. Unfortunately, some people do see want to come out, but guess what? They can't. Because of circumstances. A family man that has to provide, he has to provide. He has no choice. He's got wife, he's got kids at home.
That's his first worry.
Average. Pardon?
No, but that's his first worry, to provide for his children and family.
No, but I mean, I'm saying, I know this is personal matter, however, but he's got responsibility. You see what I mean? I'm saying it's difficult. Life is becoming difficult. You see what I mean? But if you compare this, compare it to a third world country, it's still a privilege. Regarding that, people, but then again, we take a lot of things for granted. Now a gas meter is coming in, control the CCTV. Control. In England, you're still very lucky it's not China. You're still very lucky it's not China. In China, they record everything. I think in China or Japan, they got cameras so smart, they can record it. They got, biometrical systems they got built in them. They can record who you are. They can find out who you are, everything. So just from cameras, hey, they check the cameras, who they are, person, you know what I mean, match this, match with that, match the databases here. You're still lucky in terms of, however, people are setting quite high expectations, in my opinion, in some regards, and then things, I expect things to happen overnight, which cannot be, and then the public, people have to come together. You see, on my road, let me tell you, I'm not going to say which road it was. With my road here, what they did, this was not long ago. What they did, they're trying to put, what's the name again? You know, when you're parking, they put, you know, you have to pay for parking, right?
CPZ.
Like pardon?
Yeah.
Control
CPZ.
parking zone.
Control parking. They're trying to do that where I live, right? So if you park here, if you got guests, they have to pay like £5 for whatever, how long they stay. Guess what? Got a couple. We did. Got a couple of roads, right? Got everybody to sign up a signature and opposed against it. Guess what? They couldn't do it.
Yeah.
They did it, just got away because everybody got together. This is the thing. A lot of people are in fear because they don't want to be known. They don't want to be. It's just they don't want. People don't come out of the houses. People don't talk. This is the problem. I think a lot of the time. Then because if you look at ethnic, because this comes down to ethnic minorities, isn't it? You see what I mean? People are look. If you go to climate change, right? Climate change protests. Who are they? Majority. Ethnicity wise, white people. You see what I mean? You know what I mean? All these, like, look at all these, because ethnic minority people don't engage in this. They say, it's fine, you know, you know what I mean? It won't get us. You see what I mean? They think they're not part of the
But
problem.
that's not true, AB. There are people who do protest and campaign who are from ethnic minorities.
Very few. Depending on the matter.
But, you know,
depending on the matter. Depending on the
reasons that you've
us,
said, you know, there are more barriers placed in their way.
we're a bit more
but you know what? I look at this meeting, and there's lots that prevent us from rising up. All the reasons that you said about poverty and people focusing on paying the bills. But if it wasn't for Southall Matters, I wouldn't have met Arjan. And you know, I hope Arjan doesn't mind me saying he's a young person, and how he is actually goes against what you were saying about young people not caring, not interested in politics. He's a total opposite to that. And I'm a firm believer. You get one person, who demonstrates a passion, is a campaigner, and they draw other people in. You know, it's a bit like a film I saw, one person dancing on a hillside, then another person joined, before you knew it. You had a crowd.
Hats off to him. I respect him for what he does. I respect him on consistency, actually. You know, it's not an easy thing to do. It's a very difficult thing, you know, to stand up for what's right, because there are people who just, you know, feel that ashamed. They start to look themselves in and say no, you know. But that's
and this is what Cash was all about. I mean, I wouldn't have known Joe, other campaigners who became part of Cash, if it wasn't for the fact that we were facing the same injustice. It didn't matter whether you were Indian, black, white, poor, you know, reasonably well off. You know, we were all affected by what was going on. And I'm not going to pretend it's easy, but I look at the situation that's happening. We can either just lie down and die and accept it without saying anything, or we can be a voice and stand up for ourselves and challenge the authorities, in the same way. If you look at Ella Kissy Deborah's mum, Ella Kissy Deborah died as a result of air pollution, and her mum Rosamond is campaigning and is championing the Clean Air Bill, which is going through Parliament at the moment.
Talking about that,
the easy option would have been for her just to say, I'm grieving, let me just go away quietly. When you look at
go on.
You know, protesters in society, you
know,
like,
I mean, if you look at Trump,
you know, the terrible challenges, but, you know, I'm a firm believer. Either die or stand up for what I believe in. And
so you die, the legacy onto somebody else to carry on the work that you do after you die.
100%.
Exactly. You need to live. You need to make. This is what I like about Cash. You say, "Oh, we're going to die." But we need to leave this. We need to have this legacy of Cash that goes on. So we need to, you know, make. We need to make people aware of what's going on around here, so they can carry on the legacy.
100%. Yeah,
Listen,
I'm
that's why
gonna
I joined
leave
Cash
this
on
maybe for another meeting because I'm really
Yeah.
conscious
So
of
that's
the
why I
time.
joined Cash on
Yeah,
purpose.
yeah.
I joined
But
this
we've
Cash
got
on
an
purpose.
air quality sensor that's been installed. Actually, let me just tell you briefly. Yeah, and this is really an amazing step forward for us to have a sensor that is monitoring the air pollution from the Green Quarter, from the 2 incinerators around the back of where I live, from the asphalt plants, yeah? And it's our way of putting that data out in the public arena to say, this is what's happening, yeah? You can't question it. This is factual data from a high quality sensor that is on the Breathe London network. And it's our way of moving forward. You know, the easy thing is to give up, but we're hoping with this data that we can, you know, I've already approached the schools and said, look, you know, this is what is happening. We've got this sensor. Have a look at these peaks for particulate matter, you know, which embeds itself in your brain, your heart, your lungs. Nitrogen dioxide is not going to do you a whole lot of good either. You know, lots of respiratory problems are caused by various pollutants. And we have to fight. There's no other way but to fight. And we cannot give these politicians an easy ride. And I'm with Joe. If Joe wants to go and knock on doors, others will join, we will do it. And I know, Sakit, you're frustrated that we've mentioned it before, right? But it will happen. Likewise, Arjan, you know, you strike me as a person who was of your word, that we will meet Tarek and we'll go on that bus ride to find out what it is like for somebody who's a wheelchair user to use the bus service. That is already a powerful connection. You, Tarek, myself, and you may not have known Tarek before this meeting. So we have to keep building these connections.
Yeah, we need to record that. We need to record that bus ride.
We will.
And so we have that. Yeah. Like one of us create a YouTube channel or something and post what it's like, especially
100%.
Or
Yeah,
post it
definitely.
to the current Cash, the cleaner air for Southall Hayes. Post it on.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got to make people more aware of our social media presence, so they can come out here and see what we're all about, what our aim is as well.
Yeah.
What the total point of Cash is.
And Joe, if you want to put some dates out there about when to go knocking on some doors.
Let the weather clear up a bit. Let the weather clear up, Andrew. And then we'll give them a ride for their money, don't worry.
Yeah. And I'll join you. Possibly somebody else, you know, will join. You know, it's got to start somewhere. You know, they don't want to hold meetings with us. They've ditched the ward forums. And when they did hold surgeries, I turned up to a surgery and they were so, what's the word? I can't think of the word, but disrespectful. Yeah. Not one of them turned up. Yeah. And there was no explanation to why all 3 councillors did not turn up to the surgery. So, you know, our argument is, well, you don't have meetings where we can engage with you. We're going to come to where you live. Simple.
Exactly. Power to the people.
Yeah, power to the people.
We got to be a thorn in their side, whether it's knocking on their doors or whether it's just pestering them on Twitter or whatever other platform.
Oh, I pester Mason a lot on Twitter. He just ignores me. That's all he does. He just ignores me.
But if we all keep up at it, the rest of the public will see. Anyone that follows these
live protests,
grubby little politicians will see it. We need to get all this stuff out and about and shout about it as much as we can. The lies, the deception, I think as Joe said earlier, more people voted for these mugs at the last election than before, whether it's general election or local elections. We're not getting the message through to people, are we?
Put it on live.
No.
Record it.
So video everything, every
video,
single
exactly.
action,
As you knock the doors, record
Facebook.
it and post it on all social media platforms or whatever. then it's let other people and share it and post it and so forth.
Are any of you on? There's an app that I was told about recently, Nextdoor.
Heard of it?
Yes, next door. I'm on next door. So
I've just joined that, and it's got a lot of people on there. A lot of people in the local groups in there. I think that's
Thousands and thousands, yeah.
Getting the messages out.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Nextdoor.
Right.
I don't find it. Well, I don't know how to use Nextdoor.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
like
I have used
It's
it.
just
I mean, I
like
have got
Facebook, but a
messages.
written version.
I don't have a clue what to do. I don't get it. So I just
How
You can use it
often?
for any purpose.
How often do you meet Angelo or this group?
it's about once a month. So
Yeah, it's once a month, but I think there's a conversation to be
Fact-wise.
had about having now, obviously, you know, we don't have lockdown restrictions to have some face-to-face meetings.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we talked about the issue with venue, but certainly there was a conversation that we've had about meetings, say, at the Scotsman pub. And there might only be a few of us to begin with, yeah? But at least
On
it's
the Broadway, Angela.
or on the
South of
Broadway.
Broadway.
Or on the Broadway, yeah, just to meet. But you know, start small, and then people can see what we're about, and it's going to attract more people when they
Yeah.
realise that you don't
What-
just have to lie down and accept what's going on.
So why don't we say like aim? I agree, like when the weather's a little bit better, but why don't we say like in March we will
Moti
have an
Mahal
action, whether it's
restaurant
knocking on
Broadway.
Mason's door or whatever it is. We will aim to organise an action, get as many people there as possible, film it, put it out on social media.
Let's
Why
go
don't we
down
try
and
and just
Yeah,
tie
yeah,
something
yeah.
down to say
Yeah.
in March?
It does.
Excellent
It does have
idea,
it
excellent
does have an
idea.
impact
I'm up
because
for
when I
that.
stopped him when he was canvassing, don't know if you've seen that video.
Yes, I have.
Yeah. And he refused to answer my questions.
We've
Maybe
just gotta
before then,
make-
Steve, you might find it because you live near Ealing
I-
Hospital.
yeah,
And
I
he
mean-
lives in one of the blocks there, so you might bump into him
Does he
one of these
live in
days.
one of the new blocks?
I
Yep.
believe so.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Angela-
I've never seen him. I've never
Yeah.
seen him around. So.
Angela,
You
you
know what?
mentioned the fact that how comfortable Peter Mason was. I remember that. But imagine there was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people there.
Yes.
See the difference. What I wasn't cussing, cash or anything. What I'm annoyed about is that there's certain of us we devote our time and effort, whether it's rain, sunshine, snow, and there's ways of doing certain things where they say sometimes you have to do maybe like work in a way where you do less work but have a lot more impact. There's ways of doing things like that. Okay, now and the other, as I said, it's brilliant. Of course, if it wasn't for cash, I wouldn't be here. So it's excellent. It's an excellent platform. The idea of having meetings in person are really good, because I'll tell you one thing, Zoom, I have trouble with Zoom. Every month I forget my password, and then it takes me 10, 15 minutes to, get this, get that. So the average,
sure do.
we've got the digital divide. So the average person, especially in Southall, is not going to be able to go on Zoom either. So it's only a select few of us. That's the reason. There's only a few select of us over here. And then obviously people in themselves are so, especially, in our community, because they've come from other cultures where really people in power, they know they can't make a difference wherever they go, it'll go. So they don't know their own rights. So we've got to teach them. And you're right, it has to be somewhere where we have to go outside and, persevere.
I
Not
just
like
can't get the door.
nothing every, like every 3, 4, 5, 6 months. It has to be on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, slow. It's like a child.
I would say
Fortnight,
definitely.
every 2 weeks, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like, we could go outside Southall Town Hall. Now the weather's going to get better on a Sunday for 2, 3 hours. Just talk about things like set up a table, not, have a bit of music, sit down. That's
Not
a
a disco,
crossroads. Well, yeah, of course, we do a disco as well. Yeah. 100%, yeah.
But see, I agree. There's some
on the
really good
Broadway.
ideas coming out of this meeting
But we need
that
to.
are actionable.
Yeah.
It's not just talk. We held that meeting outside of Southall Town Hall. We held a demonstration outside of the incinerators. We've done street demonstrations outside of the station and outside of the sports
Ah,
centre.
Yeah,
So we're
you
not
might say-
afraid to
How
do
effective were
that.
they?
Well, it got the Guardian newspaper interested. They've followed us for a year.
That's good.
There you
So
go.
check out the documentary "Is My Neighbourhood Poisoning Me?" It's, you know, got the attention of various
You were on the
scientists.
news once, weren't you, Angela? When you did
Quite a
the
few
Johnson-
times we've
the
been on
Johnson Street, the
BBC
Johnson
London
Street,
News,
yeah,
yeah.
the Johnson Street protest he held
Johnson
in
Street
October.
protest, yeah.
Yeah. I
And
watched
that
that one.
journalist reached out to me, you know, I didn't go touting, I didn't do a press release, you know, so, you
It
know,
was- you also
people are
interviewed for
aware
My
of
London
us
as well, I
on
think, yeah.
social media, you know, we built up quite a strong presence. But I think what's realistic, we can definitely go knocking on doors. I think we know where Councillor Dinser lives.
Yeah, he just lives on the other
Or we
side
can
of my
certainly
street.
walk down
Yeah.
Greenland Crescent and find his address. I know
Yeah,
it's down
we
here.
better be quick about it because the government is introducing laws where even static protests, they could actually ban them before
True.
you have. I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, let's
debating
hurry
about
up.
it yesterday or today. I'm
Hurry
not
up.
quite sure. So
We know
yeah.
where Verenda Sharma lives, don't we?
I was going to say, we know.
Well,
where he
definitely,
lives.
yeah. We
Yes.
know where, and that's going to be a nice thing because if there's his
Yeah,
road,
he lives in Ivor.
not we're talking.
No,
about,
he lives in Ivor.
Yeah, but we're talking about here, just off Uxbridge Road. For
Yeah.
we have that's a nice road.
That's only
Inside,
that's
we've got
only
a
in the
green area
daytime
where-
for sure.
Another
At
thing I
night, he
wanna
lives in
mention-
Ivor.
Well, let's try and catch him during the daytime.
Yep.
He,
Won't do
100%.
any harm.
he's nothing special. Don't worry. He's on his way out.
Do we know where Councillor Anand lives?
He's nothing special. Yes,
No.
yes. Tento Lane.
Yeah,
Tenslow
so, you
Lane?
know, Tenslow Lane, we can do it, you know. And
Of course we can.
yeah, and I was going to say, Peter Mason's address
We'll have
was
a
in the
laugh in the
public
process.
domain because he had a company, but unfortunately, I mean, I can ask somebody I know to see if they
Well, I
can.
suppose if he lives in one of those blocks, you can't exactly necessarily knock on his front door, can you? Because it'll be
Yeah,
intercom and everything, but
an intercom. Yeah.
still make
No,
life
there's a way
embarrassing
of
Like I
for
say,
him
getting-
they're
outside.
accountable to us. You know, they work for us, and currently they're not working for us. So we have to make our
No,
voice
they're not.
heard. Yeah,
We should
yeah.
actually sack them, tell you the truth.
Yeah.
We should sack them.
Like the Vikings did, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, I'm conscious of the time. So Arjun, I'm going to contact you away from this meeting and see, you know, what your dates are, and likewise with Tarek, what his availability is. Let's
Yeah.
actually do it. Let's make sure it's not just, you know, a talking point.
Why don't we
We'll
why don't
come,
we have
we'll
the
come,
next
Angela, don't
meeting
worry.
face to face, and then we can talk about
Mm.
the specific action or actions that we're going to
Of
plan.
course.
That's a good
Yeah,
idea. I was
sure,
just going
we
to say
can-
that. Yeah,
I'll-
I think it'll be a
I'll
good
put
idea.
something-
Let's go.
I'll put something out. How about not this Saturday, next Saturday, south of Broadway, Moti Mahal restaurant, 6 o'clock or 6:30, 6 o'clock, 6:30.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can still communicate. Angela's obviously the central point, so yeah, we can bounce ideas.
2 weeks.
2
Yeah,
weeks time.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
2
That's
weeks.
good for me, mate.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
I'll let
There's no
Angela
good
know.
talking about it. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
I'll let Angela know.
Yeah. So
No,
on a
let's just do
Saturday
it. It's
on a
2 weeks
Saturday
time.
evening, is it?
Yeah.
And it's called
Yeah,
Moti
Saturday evening,
Mahal.
say 6 o'clock. Yeah, say 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
It won't be 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
No,
let's
6
go for
o'clock in
it.
the evening.
Yeah,
man.
Half asleep, mate.
and I want to make sure, you know, penciled in my diary, obviously in
Yep.
conjunction with Tarek and Arjun, a date we're going to get on the bus. You know, obviously it has to be when his
We'll all come. We'll, Angela,
support
I'll come
worker
as
is
well. Don't worry,
available,
I'll come as well.
you know, and we'll do it and we'll film it. But also to put a date,
Yeah.
and we're going to decide which councillor we're going to visit first.
We'll do a
Okay.
trip from.
It's
we'll do a trip
doable.
from. We'll
know,
do a trip from.
If we want to
Southall-
do it, we can
from
do it. As
Southall
long as we're not
Angela,
breaking the law.
There should be
The
some campaigns.
So we're perfectly
Guys,
law-abiding,
the
but
council-
we've got questions to ask them about the
The
local
council-
plan.
The council
Southall
still does
Reset.
have meetings in the town hall, don't they? So every quarter or so. So that's
They won't
put
let
one
us in.
perfect spot where you could
They
get the
won't-
whole lot in.
Sagir, they
What,
won't let us
Ealing
in.
Town
Come on,
Hall?
baby.
We don't have
Yeah,
to
they won't let
go.
us
We're
in.
outside, you're still allowed to protest.
Yeah, then they'll come through the back door.
Yeah.
You're dealing
That
with
is
weasels, man.
totally
Why don't
legal,
you
yeah.
understand? You're dealing with weasels, man. They're not human beings like us. They're afraid of the residents. Okay,
Or we
you
can
got to have
turn up.
gloves on, mate.
Oh, I've missed it. Last Friday of the month to the surgery at the Dominion Centre. Nothing to stop us
Oh.
doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
that's a-
100%. That's a good
And
idea.
likewise, you know, with the other
Yeah.
surgeries that they're supposed to do. So yeah, I think probably we can sort of plan it a bit more by having a face-to-face meeting.
Put it
Yeah,
this way.
2
Let's
weeks time
find them. Let's
on the
find them.
Broadway at this restaurant. I can't say the name, but I'm up for that.
Moti,
Yeah.
say Moti. Moti.
Mutti. Okay.
Moti.
Mutti. My pronunciation is terrible. But yeah, I'll liaise with you, Joe.
Moti Mel means a diamond or a ruby.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and you can
Mel
speak to
means
obviously the owner,
talent.
find somewhere, you know, not out the back, but somewhere sort of secluded.
No, upstairs. No, we go upstairs. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's the one where we went with the
We went
Brunel
there last
University
time, remember?
scientists
Oh,
upstairs.
yeah, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Nice, it's quiet. No members of the public go
Yeah,
there.
beautiful.
It's
Yeah.
a whole floor.
Yeah. Well, actually, to a certain degree, we want members of the public to know what we're about. But yes, we'll start off small and begin, you know,
Of course.
to spread the word. Yeah, let's do this. And yeah, Joe, if you're definitely committed to that date, then I can put
2 weeks
postings
Saturday,
on
2 weeks
Facebook
Saturday.
and Twitter.
So is that the 11th of February then?
Yeah. There you go, my brother. 11th of February, 6 o'clock.
11, sorry, I can't check my calendar. Yeah,
Fourth
on
is
the-
this Saturday. That's the reason I know Sharma's doing
Fortnight,
the
Joe.
one on the 4th, and this is this Saturday. That's the Zoom for Ward
I ain't
Forum.
going
So
today. It's a
4
waste
plus
of
7.
time, Sagir.
Yeah.
Sagir, they're
So
not gonna
apart
let
from
us
Arjun
through.
and myself,
They're
is
not gonna
anybody
let us through.
attending the Zoom meeting just to see what it's all about?
Oh yeah, you can visually. We obviously, you know, the reason they done it. Remember when we went to? Oh, okay. What? Remember the last one when we went down to? Was it Northfield Library somewhere there? Yeah. Now they've realised that everyone's being vocal because that was really good because one person started getting vocal and everyone came out of their box and shelled. It was a bombard. Didn't know what was going on. But now they've decided to control it. Zoom. They're going to do it on Zoom. Zoom is brilliant because if you don't like someone asking a question, you simply mute them. They're going to have someone who's controlling it. So it's not right, but we can still go on here and just hear what is actually going on and what is discussed. That is still part of the journey.
Yeah.
Process. Part of the
I agree.
process.
You know, I know it won't be egalitarian in the way that you know, residents will have much of a say, but yeah, it's important for us to see the procedures, the process, what these invited guests from the NHS, the police, and transport have to say.
Oh, it's the same lot.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
same lot. It's the same
It's
lot.
interesting.
The
So
same
he
lot.
won't be speaking.
In
He
the
won't be
church
speaking.
hall
Yeah,
a
he
while
won't be
ago.
speaking.
Yeah.
He won't be speaking then. He won't be speaking.
Mm.
He'll
We
be
didn't normally
hiding
speak
on the
other than
floor.
to say, hello, my name is Mr. Sharma, welcome to my meeting. That's about
Reading
it.
from his bit of paper.
Yeah, you know, he's not very communicative, is he?
You
You
don't
know,
know
he
what-
can
what-
read out from a script, but that's about
I
it.
don't know.
Guys, one thing
I
that
don't know.
astounds me. Sorry, Joe, but he's like, you know, you go on the social media, his account, Ealing Council. These councillors turn up for photo opportunities everywhere in Southall, but
course.
members of the public don't know. I mean, Sharma done a video just here on top of Townsend Road because you know the Lahori, what is it? What is the restaurant? Taste of Lahore or whatever.
Spice
Yeah.
Village.
They were Spice Village, yeah, because what they've been doing for the last couple, they've been doing food boxes for the homeless, and he's on there with the owners. And you know, you see these photographs, but it's all the same as the usual suspects.
Same
They
people.
turn up, take a photo, and they put it on the media. And how come the public aren't informed? See, they are so scared
Same
to meet
clowns.
us at all. This gentleman, Mr.
of
Sharma,
course.
should be having the meeting in bloody Southall because that is
Well,
their
I-
remit.
I was
Look, the
gonna-
French know what
I
to
was
do.
gonna-
The French know that they whoever they represent is for their own purpose, you know, for the interest of the general public. If these people don't do it, they go out and protest, mate. That's what the French Revolution was about.
He was on South Road a few days ago.
With Chai with the
Chai with a
copper.
copper.
Yeah.
He was
doing
surrounded by
mate?
police.
Yeah. About 7, 8 of them. Yeah. Southall Broadway neighbourhood team, mate. The most corrupt individuals around. I've been saying that about 4 years, and now it's coming into public. Honestly,
Can I
They don't do
something?
much, do they? Really?
Yeah. I've never seen them. Have you ever seen them on your streets?
No.
Once a year,
Can
maybe.
I-
You know, have they ever
They
knocked
turn up
and
and
say,
do litter picking for Barclay Group. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
You're talking about litter.
Listen, I haven't seen anybody come down my street. Not even what's his name, Councillor Dinser, who lives on the other side. That's how.
Yeah, where are the councillors? Where are the councillors?
Because he drives his
exactly.
Arjan, he drives his electric car to Southall Broadway, so that's why you don't see
No,
him.
but the two councillors, each of our wards has two councillors. Where are they?
They're hiding.
Listen,
They're
it's
hiding.
been what? It's been 9 months. They've had plenty of
hiding.
time to knock up on each individual person, you know, the household, and say, "Hey, I'm introduce themselves. Is there any problem? Here's my number." No, what the hell? What are they doing then?
They're
Soon as
looking
they
after
become
they're
councillors-
looking after themselves.
Well, you
They're
know what?
buying the council contracts for family and friends.
And the reason, listen, Joe, you said other people of Southall, you know, they never voted. What it is, you're right. We will this individual, you know, like the Sikh community, the Muslim, the Hindu, the mosques, the gurdwaras, and the temples. What they have, if you look at it, they always get the same amount of, you know, votes, 1,200. Come off it. Now, what it is, those are the actual vote banks, because the gurdwaras got an X amount. We you know, will in our nature, whoever the head is of the priest will say vote for that, they'll vote for it. So they know they won the election before even voting starts, especially through the postal votes. Now, what it is, we need to get people to actually, especially the young people, to come and start voting. There are some of it up in what Southall West, 7,000 potential voters, and there was only about 3,000 that actually voted, less than half. The two women that who actually became councillors, one of them got about 1,100, the one got about 1,000. So it's easily doable. On one individual road, like say Trinity Road or Townsend Road, there's 130 houses, average of 4 people in there. You're talking about, you know, 400-500. All you need to do is get 4 or 5 roads to vote for you, and that's it, mate.
Yeah.
So
That's it. You're good to go, mate. You're good to go.
Yeah.
What's that? Sorry.
So I was gonna say that first of all, when they become councillors, then they're going to hibernation. All right.
That's what
So
they're
at the
told to
moment,
do.
all the
They have to
councillors,
follow. You know, they're
they're
told by
hibernating.
someone.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're hibernating. They're hibernating.
When we went to the poverty week,
And bullying the council officers.
Indian, the majority of Asians live in the Middlesex area. Okay. Do we all agree on that? The majority of Asians
West,
live in the Middlesex area. West London.
the old county.
Mr. Sharma went to Guildford, okay, to celebrate India's Independence Day. What does that tell you? Why would Mr. Sharma go to Guildford to celebrate India's Independence Day? Well, I can assure you that there are people, who are wealthy, live out of Southall, but they come to Southall for the greed, the money, and to destroy Southall. Okay?
100%.
So this has always been
Southall is like a dead whale, a big carcass, and everyone wants a piece of it. They know because of this. There's so much money being thrown at it. Southall Community Alliance and the Sharma, all this group. My God, that's what they're doing. They are money's being thrown left. It's fraud at large scale. All this public money is being thrown for good curses and never reaches the person at the bottom. Like this gentleman who just came in, who was disabled. Come off it. My God, look. But that money is being provided. If you check, you will see Southall Community Alliance applying for these grants. But where have they gone? They say they represent 97 different community groups. My God, where are they? And then their motto is, we bring in the different communities of Southall for cohesion.
Together.
I'm a part of that community. A mouse is part of that community. A drug dealer is a part of that community. You know, what is community? Community, you can't choose it. Black, white, yellow, you know, everyone. Now that is the community. So what they're doing is selecting their own community, and what they've done over the years, they become this unofficial voice of Southall. Anyone from the world who wants to come, they pass, and you see it in the videos. They've got the same 3-4 people, and it's like they're doing. Yep. You know, they admit that they're the voice of the Southall, but what? They're the ones who've let Southall down. We don't have a library, for Christ's sake. Southall has so many intelligent children who go off to bloody Russell, you know, Russell Group of universities, Cambridge. Yeah, and yet look at the facilities they've got. Zero. We had that Osley Park Library that's shut down. My God! But if they could, if the council could give money to, you know, Southall Mark has been turned into, you know, thinking about why can't they set up a big library? You know, over here, we need to support them. We don't want any bloody dormers. We want to hear marketing group over here. This what
you know, what else?
People are useless. They are letting Southall run down on purpose, and that's what annoys me.
You know what the funny thing is? You know what else the funny thing is? TFL didn't even lose money during the pandemic. You know, when people were locked down, everybody was at home. TFL wasn't even losing money. Every bus they run on time.
Hey, what's that noise, mate?
Every bus they run on time, what would happen is they used to get a bonus by the year or end of the year. So TFL was pretty much making their money back. So what is the reason that it increased the fares? Even with the trains still running, do you think this train and the buses and trains were just running for loss? They were getting paid by the government, was paying them, so that's why they didn't lose any money.
Thank you.
Another thing is this: people become like councillors, MPs, or whatever. This is because it puts them in a certain hierarchy, certain position where it opens networks for them. It benefits them. You see what I mean? You have to be in a certain position to be in a certain thing. You see what I mean?
Oh my God! Listen, me, Joe, and Raymond went to the anti-poverty week, or the organised by the SC, which was open. This was on a Monday. One of the councillors of my forum, she made a speech. She got a piece of paper, and oh my God, she read it without any passion in it, like a parrot. And I'm thinking maybe my 8 or 9-year-old actually wrote it. And then she sort of is there smiling and wanted everyone to clap. Everyone was astounded. It goes to the intelligence of these people. What these councillors, some of them are elected because they lack intelligence and integrity, because they're easy to control by whoever is controlling them.
It's biased. They have to be biased. I mean, look, they say, look, you know, billionaires have to pick a side. They politically have to pick a side. You see what I mean? Sometimes, look, it's very easy to say, you know, when there's somebody made this little philosophy of theirs, right? Little theory. What it was is saying, when you're poor, you think everybody's around you the same. You know what I mean? No one has money. Why is this like that? Because people need to start to realize, stop complaining, deal with the situation there is. If you look at the Tate brothers, probably not everybody's example, but then he had nothing. From nothing, he made something. Most of these wealthy people, look at Einstein, for example, had nothing. You see what I mean? The people come from nothing. People have to sort of evaluate that idea and sort of progress. This is another major thing.
They make their money by exploiting the poor, you know?
Exploiting the poor, because I'll tell you why, Gillian, I'll tell you exactly why. You see, look, I see things on a global scale. You see, I don't see it on a person to person, because, exceptions don't make the rule. However, what it is, if you look at third world country, why do you think they're poor? Because all the Western, the crap, because Western, we don't produce anything, right? They get everything from China. We're heavily consumers, right? Get our stuff. Oh, we don't want it anymore. Now what? Because these trends keep coming in, set it up in place to keep coming in. New things keep coming in, new technologies. They send this to third world country. Oh, hold on a second. Guess what happened to 207? Those three, the long bus. That long, like a train, that bus used to be 207s, right? Why? What do you think
the Bendy buses, the Bendy buses.
They send that to Africa. They send these to Africa. And those people have to be put up with that burden. China stopped taking this stuff a very long time ago. They refused. Now look what China is doing, way ahead of everybody. So what people need to start to realize, these consumer products, this is why they got these bamboo pillows and stuff, eco-friendly, they do eco-friendly stuff. So it comes down to individual. People looking at carbon footprints and stuff. Some people don't do certain things for that reason. You see what I mean? Cyclists don't even cycle anymore. People don't cycle. Government should have a scheme to give people free bicycles. I think that would work. Cut down on cars and stuff. You see what I mean? And now they got, if you go to Oxford, you go to certain places, Birmingham, where they say no cars are allowed. But then again, it's not enough. You see, I mean, cars still going to be polluting. Electric cars even worse than the petrol cars. You see what I mean? Petrol cars in terms of that are even better. If you think about it, you see, okay, technology is the start of its evolution, obviously, the progress developed. However, at this moment in time, it's doing more damage. Look at cobalt. Look at certain products they use in makeup, for example. You know, third world countries. Look. You see, I mean, it's in a national, it's a global scale. This problem will not be solved. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. So on an individual level, it's very difficult. Another way to do certain things is like on your platform, on your scheme, is to go out to some campaigners who've already got a platform, try to engage something with them, go to some influencers, go on a bit of a, you know, I mean, go blogs and stuff, go to these forums and pages.
Most definitely, AB. You know, this is what so exciting. You know, we're going to take this off being online, you know, and meet face to face. So I've got the date, 11th of February. I know this conversation can run and run. But it is nearly 9:30. So with the greatest respect, thank you for your contribution. But can we close the meeting temporarily and we'll carry on the conversation face to face? I can't say it properly, Moti. On the 11th of February. Sorry for the bad pronunciation. But thank you everybody for your contribution tonight. And it does give me hope, you know, because as I said, the alternative is just to do nothing. And I'd rather get to know you guys better, and that builds our community and connects us, because we are all affected by the injustices that are happening in Southall. So I'm going to say good night to everybody and hopefully see you on the 11th.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Angela, can you please write to Ealing Town Hall regarding Manor House, please?
Yes, I have to, because I'm going to inquire about whether that's a place to hire by Brunel.
No, not hire. No, we want it free. No, we want to run it.
Even better.
Take over it.
Yeah.
Take over it. That's it, Steve. Well done. Very nice to hear from everybody. Good night.
Hopefully, in a
Good
couple
night,
of months, the
everybody.
meetings will be from there then.
Of course.
Yeah.
Angela, can I speak to you off once you start the recording quickly?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Thanks, Angela.
Okay, good night, everybody. Take
All
care.
right.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you for your presence. Bye-bye.